Hello, everybody, and welcome to Ring Post Radio Live. I'm your host, Ryan Knightsey. Scotty is not here today. He is on assignment. He was on a wedding recently, but now I actually genuinely don't know what he's doing this week. Now that I think about it, because I don't think he actually ever explicitly say it's on some sort of assassination mission. So if any sort of dictators or anything pass away in the next week, then we'll know it was Scotty Edwards. But thank you everybody for tuning in for this week's episode of Ring Post Radio. We're still doing the episode. As you can tell by the video, we're doing it a little bit different. We're doing it in person this week. So I'm very much excited about that. And joining me today, as you can already tell, sitting in my office, very much akin to Dave Meltzer, Big Dave's office here of how messy it is. But sitting in my office here is my good friend, I don't know why I said it like that. Good friend, Andrew Erikson. Andrew, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, it's a pleasure to have you. We have been friends for a good couple years now. Ironically, we met in Atlanta, even though we're both from Maryland. And you kind of got, if I recall correctly, got back into wrestling. Not pandemic. Was it strike or pandemic?
I would say strike probably. I'd say since the pandemic, I've been watching like wrestling bios, like mostly nostalgia based stuff.
Yeah.
But thanks to Ryan, definitely just give me the incentive to actually, watch the occasional pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm.
I've been getting back into it.
Yeah.
And it helps that I think AEW is a great promotion.
Yes, I would agree. I would certainly agree. AEW is great. Ow, I hit my knee. That's fine. AEW is a great promotion, and I love it. I'm the resident freakazoid of the podcast. But yeah, we watch whenever I'm on the show and I'm saying that, like, I watched AEW with a friend. You're that friend.
Mm-hmm.
You're the friend that we go see the shows if they're in Atlanta, which they will be in December. Forget the date, 14th, something like that. And we typically watch the pay-per-views together as well. I've been doing that for the past couple of years, and it's always been fun and enjoyable. And it's fun for me to steal your takes for the show. So I appreciate that. But now you're on the show, so I'm ruined. For lack of a better word. Andrew, I want to talk to you first before we get into AEW stuff. You pretty much just watch AEW, I believe.
Yes.
And luckily, this was a good week's episode because pretty much we're just going to be talking about AEW this week. Because there's Blood and Guts, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk about it momentarily. We'll talk about Full Gear, which is this Saturday. And there was also we got the Wrestling Observer Newsletter Hall of Fame as well. And I want to throw those at you just to get your takes. Just because I recorded a full episode of that. That'll be out on the ballot this Wednesday, folks. But I recorded a full episode of that. So you'll hear my thoughts about rest of the world, Mexico, historical later. But I want to get your thoughts on specifically modern because it's a wild group. It's a wild group edition. But I want to talk to you wrestling by watching a lot of the wrestling bios. I remember you telling me about you were watching a lot of his series specifically of the Nitro versus Raw Monday Night War, kind of like what is happening quarter to quarter or segment to segment. But you say you went back into wrestling. When did you first start watching wrestling, and how long did that last?
So I can kind of tie my first entry into professional wrestling with a WCW NWO Revenge on a Nintendo 64 in fourth grade. I think that might have been 99.
Okay.
Or maybe late 98. I had a friend of mine who
was that the N64. What was it on?
On the Nintendo 64. I'm an old head. I had a friend of mine who had it. He let me borrow it, and good Lord, that's an amazing game. To this day, it's so fun. And and there's good mod support, and it's wonderful. And from that point, I don't know when I started watching. Wrestling was definitely not allowed in my household.
Really?
But then my household started to blow up, and I could start watching wrestling.
Sure.
It was great. So I started. My first entry was probably Nitro. So that would have been sort of the latter stage of the NWO.
Pure wolf pack stuff.
Yeah. So, when it started getting really stupid,
yeah, that's what would you say? 99, I think is what he said.
Yeah.
Not the great last 3 years of that promotion.
No, they were definitely on the downswing by the time I started watching. So, of course, I did what Tony Schiavone told me to do, and I turned over to Raw, and then I kind of just, fully stayed on Attitude Era,
Sure,
WWF at that point.
Yeah,
and yeah, it was great fun, and it was a really fun mix of characters, and depending on who was in the ring, like actually good workers.
Sure. Sure.
I mean, there was always like, a big boss man match was like, I'll fast forward through this.
Yeah.
But
was he Big Boss? No, I'm thinking of it when he went to WCW when he was
Big
Bubba Rogers.
Yeah, I missed that. I missed the NWO Big Bubba Rogers.
Yeah.
But I did catch his feud with Al Snow. We fed him the dog, Pepper. Great. And but yeah, that was primarily, I was especially obviously towards the end of WCW. I think the Vince Russo era of WCW was when I was like, I can just stay completely with WWF at this point.
Yeah.
Like, when he came on board, there were like whole hours where it's like, okay, it's all been really bad promos and like just very. Then I was like, didn't know at the time, but like Russo.
Yeah. I find that a lot of people have a similar feeling about that. It's just like they don't necessarily realize like what the issue is, and then like when you figure out the backstage stuff, you're like, oh, it's specifically this guy. And to a certain extent, I imagine Bischoff as well. But
yeah, as a 10-year-old, 11-year-old, I wasn't in on the dirt sheets or anything.
Sure.
But I could see I did not really watch much of the pay-per-views. I was mostly just a TV watcher, but I feel like I pretty much watched every Raw, every SmackDown. And we had a VCR back in the day for the kids. That was a thing you put in. It's like TiVo, and for the other kids, TiVo was a thing you could record. Yeah, so
which eventually devolved into DVR, and now it's just I don't know.
I can just watch it whenever.
Now it's just I have it existing. Well, I have it up until I don't have it, but I have to figure out how to own it in the meantime. Yeah. We'll talk about streaming maybe later if we have time. We'll talk about streaming, much like the Pope. We'll have our thoughts on streaming. Oh, geez. But did you ever think that in 2025 the Pope would have thoughts on streaming algorithms? Can you believe that?
We are in a world where we could have Pope has opinion on streaming and AI, and this is not some dystopian like bad. I don't know who's a terrible director that would make some bad sci-fi movie, a McG movie.
Yes,
from 2009.
Yeah,
where the opening exposition would be Pope has opinion on streaming and AI. It's like, what are you talking about, McG? Go away and do a Charlie Angel.
It's one of those things that like, there is a part of me that's like, yeah, I think it's cool and fun that the Pope has a take. I would say a correct take on AI and streaming, but it's also like, I also don't want the Pope to weigh in on this. I feel like he has bigger fish to fry in terms of his sphere of the globe.
It's also upsetting that the Pope has better takes on it.
I know
than the learned people who are actually should be the ones guiding the technology, but
alas,
that's where we're at.
But alas, here we are. So you got in through video games, much like I did. I got in playing SmackDown versus Raw. I think like 06 was the first one I played, because I played that at a friend's house first, and then we eventually got the PS2 version of the game. And I feel like that was just like a generation of kids grew up playing wrestling video games first.
Yeah.
And then you discover that it's real. Did you have that feeling? Was it like, okay, this is a video game of wrestling, and then you're like, oh, this is actually a real TV show?
So I definitely, skipped past Nitro probably when flipping channels when I was younger, but probably a combination of like, oh, this isn't appropriate. I'll get yelled at for watching this.
Yeah.
Because I got yelled at for watching Power Rangers growing up. So
yes.
uh,
What? Hold on. What?
it's a whole thing.
Okay, perfect.
Harry Potter's the devil. Power Rangers are also the devil, plus their knees, so that's definitely not allowed.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, I think I told you before we started recording that like SpongeBob was the devil for my wife growing up. And it's so much sucks because I watched a bunch of SpongeBob and I cannot make a single reference to her. Well, I make references all the time, but she doesn't get any.
But then you have to explain it like, okay, he's a sponge that lives under the sea.
He has square pants. We all know this. I can't say Destiny Weasnall to her, and she has no idea what I'm talking about. I doubt you know what I'm talking about when I say Destiny Weasnall. And it's a thing my brother and I say to each other all the time.
Remind me?
Okay, so Destiny Weasnall is that there is an episode where SpongeBob gets a seahorse, and he names it Destiny. And when he's at one point he's playing hide and seek, I think, with her. And he's like Destiny Weasnall because he's trying to talk like a horse, I guess. And so my brother and I say that to each other all the time. Anyways, this is a so you're watching wrestling, you get into it, you realize that Russo is the devil, and you say, no, I'm moving on to WWF, eventually WWE. You probably watched that, I assume, into the 2000s. When does it trail off?
I think it trails off.
And how old are you during this period of time?
So I was born in 89.
Brag.
Yeah, great year. But so I would have been, 9, 10, 11, 12. So, into my middle school years.
Okay. Prime boy wrestling.
Exactly. You got big jacked men doing big jacked men stuff. You got tables, you got puppies. It's great. What more could you want as a boy?
And you're talking about physical puppies, correct? The actual dogs?
Well, no. Al Snow is eating those.
Oh, my apologies, sir.
No. Jared is he has the mind of an 11-year-old boy.
Yes.
So we had a connection there.
Yes. Do you know that Jerry Lawler is super into classic horror movie monsters like Frankenstein and the Wolfman and the Swamp Thing?
Does he have like a room dedicated to like Universal movie monsters?
I believe so.
That makes sense.
I believe so. So much so that when he was in Memphis, they would frequently have Frankenstein show up and wrestle, and the Wolfman show up and wrestle and stuff.
So he really is just like he's just a man with Arrested Development, just like everyone else who has like a Star Wars room or
Correct.
A Spider-Man room.
Correct. Or or just most wrestlers probably as well.
Well, I mean, yeah.
So when does things start trailing off in your wrestling viewing, I guess?
So definitely the end of the competition when
2001.
Yeah, like the Invasion storyline was, bad. But I mean, I still love all these wrestlers in WCW. They just were not used well, but they're going to come in. And then subsequently you see, and I did watch a few ECW shows as well, because I believe that was airing on TNN.
Yeah.
Back in the day. So when I caught that, I was like, oh, this is awesome. But that was definitely towards the end of ECW. But I still saw Rob Van Dam. I saw Sabu, Sandman, again, 12-year-old boys, like, awesome. But so the excitement of like, oh, this is all going to be in one promotion. And just like everyone who celebrated when Disney bought everything, it turns out one company being in charge of everything is not good for the product.
It turns out when Paramount, Skydance, Warner Brothers, and Discovery attempt to merge or whatever, what the fuck is happening with that now? It's just like, any capacity.
Yeah.
And especially, what ends up happening is, the Invasion angle doesn't work whatsoever. Vince tries one thing, and basically Buff Bagwell screws it up so badly that he's like, no, never again.
But also his ego would probably not even allow it to happen in the first place, like we saw with the launch of ECW in 2005, whenever that was.
2005.
Just like, no, I can't let this someone else's creation overshadow mine.
Yes, which is correct. Which is exactly like, and I think I think that's sort of a thing we have nowadays with like every billionaire is like, I'll acquire this, but like the things I like that I already had has to be, and that was the Vince thing. It's like it has whatever I've created has to be better than what the other stuff is, which is also crazy because at one point in time with the whole Buff Bagwell Booker T match that main evented Raw, that was supposed to be like the jump start, and his plan apparently was to fully convert Raw and make it Monday Night Nitro.
Right.
And is insane, honestly, that he thought about that. And he thought like, you'll have SmackDown, we'll have Nitro. And it's in like in hindsight, it's like I can't believe he even thought about that because it doesn't. To me, that doesn't fit like the Vince brain playbook in any capacity,
especially to do Raw, like replace Raw, like that as the original show.
Yes,
but I guess in a sense, like I could see the business sense of it. Nitro's the original show, the original. Well, did Nitro launch first Monday nights or?
They didn't launch first on Monday nights. They went live first.
Okay.
Because Raw was already existing.
But Nitro definitely had the most success on Monday nights up until it did.
Famously for 83 weeks. Lest we forget. But yeah, it's fascinating. So you trail off of the 2000s. John Cena's not doing enough for you.
I think I honestly, I mean, I'm sure I caught some of the first initial John Cena matches before he really, before the Thugonomics stuff started happening. When he was just like, just generic big man.
The prototype?
I don't remember that, but there's a reason why I don't remember that.
Yeah.
But I think I tailed off by like late 2002, 2003, like, the Ruthless Aggression era. Like I totally missed most of that. And truthfully, a lot of stuff, the stuff I did like catch after the fact was all stuff where it's like, I don't care. Like, you have their Triple H Reign of Terror stuff. And, and I never enjoyed Triple H matches, even when I was younger. And at this point, looking back on it, like he was just doing really good heel work and attitude. And so like, I hated him, and he in the McMahon Helmsley era was a whole big thing. And I hated seeing it, but I was like, good heel work. But then you got stuff like the Katie Vick thing. And like, it was like, even as a teenager, like I was a teenager who, was learned. I enjoyed film and stuff. I can't, this isn't good. This is awful. So I was kind of off it for a while. And then like, I guess the most I would engage with it was like the occasional, like, just nostalgia, like just basically whenever WWE would, bank on nostalgia, have like, they would either have, a nostalgia show or like, hey, we brought back, I don't know, some rando,
like Raw 1000 or something like those anniversary shows.
And honestly, a lot of their home video content or like whatever they uploaded on YouTube way back in the day. I remember some friends and I, we would like, watch compilations of like top 100 Stone Cold Stunners or something. Good stuff. And there was a terrible, I remember me and a buddy of mine watching it, ironically, because it was very bad and just very over the top in the same way a lot of the stuff back then was. I think it was like top 50 oh my god moments in WWE history, and each little transition from like, like oh my god moment 48. It was like it was so stupid.
Oh my god 48.
And this was a WWE produced thing. It was so of course it was like lionizing everything.
Of course
WWE did. So it was like they would show stuff where it's like, oh, Kurt Angle came out a milk truck. Oh my god! and again, so bad it's good. Like, but still, like watching, it's like, okay, you are talking this up way too much, WWE. Like, this is amusing, but none of what you're doing is selling me on the actual product.
The canonization of WWE, like once it won the battle, like they ultimately like control the narrative of wrestling, and so I assume in that compilation of, oh my God moments, there's not a single WCW one. It's like just purely WWE things.
Yes.
I imagine it's also pretty much Attitude Era stuff exclusive. There's probably nothing from like pre-Hogan, maybe.
No, absolutely not.
Probably some Hogan stuff, like maybe the Roddy Piper and Snuka like 80s, like the Piper's Pit moment.
Yeah, and I think like like Lex Luger body slamming Yokozuna or something.
Yeah, on top of the USS Intrepid or whatever.
Yeah, but
so dumb. wrestling rules, but also so dumb.
I think it's some of the best when it is dumb, but at
Yeah.
least when it knows it's dumb.
Yes, if it purposely leans into the dumb, it can be good. But obviously, it's a line. So AEW get back in. What's the difference for you for AEW versus WWE? Why AEW? You hear so much wrestling out there right now.
So
and why not TNA? Why are you not a TNA faithful? Why aren't you hanging out on Billy Corgan's NWA?
Well, you know me. I love NWA, but I gotta keep it low key because I'll get canceled if I say like Brodus Clay is the best NWA champion ever.
He's the best wrestler and best TV host I've ever seen.
Yeah. I'm an avid watcher of Gutfeld.
Gutfeld with Brodus Clay. Where's Gutfeld? God, so dumb.
But I think I really got back in wrestling. I think I did start watching the Reliving the War stuff on YouTube over the pandemic. I discovered the OSW podcast, and I love them. They have like my sort of takes a lot on wrestling of just like, yeah, wrestling is often very dumb.
Yes.
But it's kind of best when it is dumb, embraces it a bit, but also does take the internal kayfabe seriously. Like kayfabe is not just about like, before it was like, okay, the audience can't know it's fake. Like, no, it's okay for the audience to know it's fake, but the wrestlers themselves should buy in.
Yes.
Like that's the kayfabe. In the ring, they should like, you take a spot, like you sell it, like that's the kayfabe. There has to be an inciting incident for a feud or something. It's just like that's honestly one of the reasons why I probably cooled off on WWE so much, like back in the day when it was just like, oh, Diamond Dallas Page is back.
Yeah.
Oh, why is he stalking Undertaker? Why do I care about Undertaker at all? He's just a biker. He's a dead man.
Yeah.
What the hell's going on?
Why is he no longer? Is he still undead? I don't understand.
Like now he just seems like
he's just a dude.
He's just a middle-aged dude going through a midlife crisis. Listens to Kid Rock way too much.
He's just a guy that his favorite WCW pay-per-view was Road Wild.
I guess, yeah.
That's probably I tend to agree with that. The idea that like you can't, when it comes to the fandom, right? Mm-hmm. You can't put the genie back in the bottle of convincing the fans that this is all completely. I was talking to my cousin's fiance, not my cousin, my cousin-in-law's fiance. And there is like this element of kayfabe is he knows it's fake. He knows that he plays along with it, but there is an element of like the story of it all and the believability of the story, and that being the new kayfabe. And that's always, I guess, to a certain degree, always existed. For wrestling to work, you need all the players within it to buy in. You also need like the history of things to make sense. If you had, for instance, with AEW, if all of a sudden we had this big feud with Hangman and Swerve, right? Mm-hmm. Burning people's houses down and everything. And then, next time a month or two later, you see Swerve and Hangman tag teaming up together, buddy. You're like, what the heck just happened here? The internal logic has to make sense. The history has to be maintained. And WWE kind of just stopped bothering with that. Right. They would maybe continue it, maybe acknowledge it, but 9 times out of 10, they wouldn't even care.
And that would be an issue. Like, honestly, the invasion storyline was a big thing of just like, they just totally discounted any actual history. They're
Yeah.
like, no, we're gonna fit this square peg in a round hole, like this WCW wrestler in this, like, oh yeah, Diamond Dallas Page, like the people's champion who's not The Rock
Mhm.
is gonna be a heel. Like, why would he do that?
Yeah.
And so yeah, like I think just like any other, like dramatic art, like storytelling is supreme. Like, and storytelling is not necessarily like, a plot. Like,
Yeah.
like that's the thing. Really, like the plot. A lot of it is just like character work and yeah, physically telling a story in the ring or with a promo.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to necessarily be consistent. Like, but the characters should be consistent.
Yeah.
Or if not, like you can still work around that, but it just takes the work. And I honestly, like, coming back into wrestling, like there was the moment, like, WWE was hot. Like, I think, the whole Cody Rhodes run, that was good storytelling. Like, and that was building on the history, like finish the story, like, the Dusty Rhodes bit of it, like, and totally not, there's a lot of issues with it, but even Dwayne's whole final boss thing, like, and what I call the bloodline arc, there's a lot of good storytelling. And add to that, there's also a lot of good work in the ring. And the work in the ring reflected that storytelling. And then, but I watched AEW, and you definitely turned me on to AEW, and for a while there, I think they were both good promotions. Like, they both were doing a lot. Like, WWE was definitely more corporate. Like, you watch
definitely corporate.
You watch a WWE pay-per-view, it's like, okay, there's 5 matches. Why is it the same length as this AEW pay-per-view that's like 500 matches?
Exactly.
Oh, we gotta fit in like a couple Snickers promos.
Yeah.
We gotta talk about Dude Wipes for a while.
Yeah, it's like 30 minutes in between matches on the WWE pay-per-view.
And
sorry, PLE.
And I could deal with that. Like even back in the day, there was a ton of commercials. Like, I remember my Lugs commercials, or my Stacker 2. But at a certain point, I think, I've harped on this a lot. Like, the big turning point, and I honestly really stopped watching WWE within the last year or so. I think, I don't know, it was last SummerSlam or something. Last year SummerSlam.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't really care enough. And just like, Slim Jim table and everything, and
the overuse of commercialized branding,
and then the UFC connection, the TKO of it all.
Yep. And for me, part of it is like also leaning into the Trump stuff, everything.
Yes, and to not get too into the definitely in 2025, the politics has a real big turn off, and it wouldn't be as much of an issue if if Hunter didn't center the whole damn show on himself.
Look, this guy doesn't want to be out here. This guy, every time someone talks about it, it's like, this guy doesn't want to be out here, and he's all over the place.
And I go back to, I stopped watching WWE partially because of this guy, or at least I definitely wasn't incentivized to come back, because I would turn it on a TNN back in the day. It's like, oh, he's doing a 20-minute promo to start the show.
Yeah.
And then I turn on WrestleMania, he's doing a 20-minute promo to start the show.
Yeah. Yes. This guy doesn't realize that there's a good amount of people that did not care for him.
Yeah. And it's, again, not like, looking back, it's not even I dislike him. Like, he was a very good wrestler. He does do a good promo.
Yeah.
But he does good heel, and I don't want to see a heel every single time.
Yes.
And now he's an actual literal heel because he's with a stable of heels. I'm sorry. I will call the current administration a bad stable.
Well, in a way, in a way, they are getting good heat.
I mean, is it good heat?
No.
Okay.
There's good heat, and then there's heat that's like harmful. You know what I mean? Yeah, I love the conversation about like what the wrestling storytelling is, because that's obviously like a thing that is constantly battered about, especially like from WWE fans, is that like WWE tells good stories. And I think what that is really about, I think you nailed it, is that like WWE writes a lot of plot.
Mhm.
They sometimes and typically forget it, but they write a lot of plot. And I think what is more interesting about wrestling, that's something I think AEW does a little bit better. That one, it's ultimately wrestling is an action movie. You know, it's about the set pieces. And I just think that like, you know, AEW commits to those set pieces better. But I think it's also that wrestling, more than like the plot and necessarily like why you know, what is the structure of why we're fighting, all these sort of things, it's more of like wrestling storytelling is a character study. It's just constant character studies of every single person. Like, you know, if these two people start having a conflict, what, you know, why are they having a conflict? What about them you know, doesn't like this other person, and how can that resolve into a fight? You know, these are just highly emotional people that would like to solve it out by duking it out, right? And it's a character, and I think like, you know, you see that a little bit with Hangman and Swerve. You see that a little bit with like you know, you can see it as well. It's just like if you look at it as a character study, can be like, you know, normal and kind of like talking about characters, but it can also be like the gimmicks. It's like I'm doing a character study on this weird I don't know, character.
I mean, Timeless Tony Storm is a big one of just like literally doing a character kind of a character.
Yes.
And you know, it's literally meta, like in the sense of like she's doing a whole history gimmick that's building on film history.
Yeah.
But that's also what her gimmick is. It's also impacting her in real life in kayfabe.
Yes.
Like in kayfabe, she's doing a gimmick.
Yes.
Which is great.
Yes. In kayfabe, she is putting on a costume.
Yes.
Basically.
But no, the storytelling and like, I mean, that'll be a lot what I'd be talking about with Blood and Guts. Like, just the whole show was full of amazing storytelling.
Oh, I think that's the perfect transition to get us into Blood and Guts. Let's start talking about Blood and Guts first. Of course, it was on Dynamite Greensboro, North Carolina, if you can believe it. 5,000 in attendance for this show. What was it? A 2.5 hour show, I believe technically is what it was. And then it had more of an overrun on top of things, just because they had knowing going into it that we were going to have practically 2 matches that go over an hour. And one got very close. Actually, no, neither of them went over an hour, but you know, entrances and whatnot probably too. Well, no, they even spaced out the entrances because they didn't have everyone do entrances first and everything too.
And they did have there's a big FTR promo.
Yeah, with
Ricky Steamboat.
With Ricky Steamboat and no one else supposed to be there. But there's medical reasons. We'll get to that. So yeah, the coming out of the show, the word on the street is that apparently this is one of the best wrestling television episodes of all time. This is probably one of the best that AEW's ever done. What was your thoughts?
This is actually the first Blood and Guts show I've watched.
And War Games?
Not the first War Games. I did catch. I'm quite sure I caught a War Games back in the day, like an actual WCW War Games.
99 2000 War Games.
Well, there was. I definitely watched, and that's probably how when I finally learned about Vince Russo. I think I did watch the Russo Rules. Was that War Games 2000? I don't know, whatever he called it, where it was the Ready to Rumble ring or something.
Yeah. God.
So yeah, like my experience with War Games is
not great.
Not great. But also, and I'll get into this, like my very limited criticism of Blood and Guts is mostly just like, I think the format is just kind of dumb.
Sure. The format of the Blood and Guts, like match structure.
Yeah. And just like, you know, just, I don't think AEW's production skills are up to par to especially get those multi-man schmazzes. And
yeah,
there's a lot of cuts, a lot of like they miss a lot of spots. And that goes into like, I'll start with my criticism, and this is probably my only criticism of the show, and it's really not that
it's like
bad.
Nitpicky.
Yeah, it's mostly just I think the match should start sooner. I think there's too long a gap between each entrant.
Mm-hmm.
I also think that I believe that the advantage matches going into it, I think they should have all 3 advantage matches. But each win determines the handicap that starts with. So if you sweep, you start Blood and Guts with a 3-1 advantage.
Ooh, that's interesting.
That gets the actual match started sooner. It's like 90 seconds between participants or something.
Because I think it's like a kayfabe 2 minutes, I believe is what it is.
Yeah, and it's obviously, and it doesn't have to be strictly 90 seconds. Like I'm okay with like, we're getting the spot in, so it'll be like closer to 3 minutes.
Yeah.
But if the action on the ring is good enough, you don't care.
Yeah.
And of course you have to, leave enough time for the Death Riders to somehow find their way through the arena.
Of course.
Like I've been in some of these arenas in my day job, trying to distribute checks while they're shooting there. You get lost in those in the guts of those arenas.
Us working in Macon. I don't remember what that arena was called.
I think this is Macon Coliseum, famous WCW venue. That was can we curse now?
Yeah, you're fine.
That was a shithole.
Yeah.
I worked in I work in payroll in the film industry, and I was working with our buddy Cody Rhodes on that one.
And Snoop Dogg, of course,
fellow
wrestler.
Hey, he's really good, improvising. He saved Shane McMahon from that terrible injury he had.
Yeah.
But no, working on a luxury box at the Macon Coliseum. That was where my payroll office was.
Yeah.
It was not very luxurious.
No.
But yeah, just I think Blood and Guts, like there's too much. I don't think multi-man schmazes work for the most part anytime. Like always the worst part about any like big multi-man match is when it all breaks down. And it's just like, you're cutting from this to this. You don't really have any time to really like focus on any individuals. And like I said, it's telling a story. So if you're just add modern action film where it's doing quick cuts and you're not getting a chance to really understand what's happening, or you're just missing, like you hear commentary talk about like, oh, she did this. So it's like, did she? I don't know.
Yeah. I give multi-man schmazes a little bit of a break when it comes to the production. Not a whole lot, because there's certainly some things where it's like, okay, we actually obviously messed that up or whatever. But I give them sometimes a little bit of a break, because especially AEW, mostly because I'm a freakazoid, and I'll get ridiculed by Scotty if he hears it. But the reason I say mostly with AEW is because I get the sense that I feel like this is true, that AEW's matches are less scripted than WWE's. And I do think that part of the reason WWE's production style works so well is because it's the wrestling is more scripted and overly scripted for the production TV style. I think AEW, because it's more improv-y, the production team has to be, they're going to miss things in a multi-man schmaz. And for me, it's like, that's kind of what it is. And they just have to be better at not missing those things.
Yeah, honestly, I do think it's also just like, I think probably WWE has, they definitely have a bigger budget. They definitely have a more,
of course,
a larger production truck. They have, probably multiple producers, like multiple directors able to like really
get more cameras. I mean, it's probably a similar amount of cameras, but they also have these drone things.
Yeah. So it's mostly just like, I wish AEW would like, work within those limitations a bit more.
Sure.
And that's mostly why I'm like, yes, I think if you get the entrance in quicker, you can still have the big schmazes, but I think my big frustration is like, it's a schmaz, but the match hasn't even technically started yet.
Correct. Yes, correct. I do think that War Games is like a little too convoluted for its own good. Yeah. It's fun and everything, but it is just like a little bit of like, it's when I have to see a wall of text pop up on the screen that explain the rules, I'm like, oh, okay, all right. I can't necessarily do this for that much. But yeah, I really liked the show. I thought the show was obviously great. I thought the women killed it and each other. I thought the men's match was also phenomenal. I also really like the False Count Anywhere match with Hangman and Hobbs. We'll go a little bit more match by match here, but I just like a brief overview. I really thought those were really well done. Like going to that production thing, it's like, if it's going to be multi-more schmaz, I would just say my note would be on the wide more.
Yes.
Like it's nice. The problem with that is obviously you have a cage right in front of you, but so does the entire crowd.
Right.
And so
they should be playing to the crowd too, which I thought they did. That crowd was tremendous.
Crowd was great. Greensboro is always great. This was, I believe, the last time they were here in the Greensboro, the first Horizon Coliseum, I believe, was Revolution for Sting's retirement match. And obviously that was a great crowd. And in both shows, Darby absolutely killed himself.
Yeah.
As one could expect.
And also Ric Flair.
Was there, kind of.
Less woo energy, though.
Less woo. Yeah, there's certainly less woo energy. No one was drinking mushroom juice. But let's get into the actual show, match by match here. Obviously, starting off was the women's Blood and Guts match, the 12-man. Ironically enough, you said that a little bit quicker to get more entrances in. The women had 2 more people to do entrances for, and the match was shorter at 46 minutes than the men's, which might be indicative of just the sort of men's-women's divide in wrestling, but I digress. The winning team, of course, were the heels: Marina Shafir, Megan Bain, Mercedes Moné, Julia Hart, Sky Blue, and Tekla, defeating the team of Harley Cameron, Jamie Hayter, Chris Statlander, Mina Shirakawa, Tony Storm, and Willow Nightingale. So much stuff went involved in this match. I believe, if I recall correctly, the heels had the advantage. Match started off with Sky Blue and Willow, and very quickly Sky Blue gets busted open and ends up bleeding an insane amount the entire show. Obviously, everyone bled practically, but the sheer amount of blood that Sky Blue released was insane.
Literally constantly wiping her eyes.
Yes. Literally, I would not be shocked if, like, during the match, she's just like, someone throw me into the corner real quick. I just need a breather and get my bearings, because I'm getting dizzy, lightheaded probably, and an insane performance from her for sure. In terms of that endurance thing, I do think there was a little bit of like spottiness in terms of botching spots here and there, but at the very beginning, because I like this match a lot. I felt that the first half, it was good, a lot of blood and a lot of violent, but there also was like these like a little bit. Sometimes it happens, obviously, is like they go for the choreographed moves and it gets a little bit botchy a little bit. I do think part of that's probably just because you're bleeding and you're getting lightheaded and dizzy and stuff. And then I would counter with, well, then do less of those choreographed things. But that's also just like modern wrestling is, people want to do more of the choreographed spots. But then I think really the turn for me where it upped it to like, yeah, this is nice, I'm enjoying this and whatnot, but there's some things, there's some issues I have, but that real fear entered because Marina Shafir has never really in the ring been like all that necessarily impressive. Like, she has her moments, but it's like there's quick matches and there's nothing too crazy about what she does. But her coming in set such a vibe. Her battling with Chris Stat on the outside, throwing her onto the bed of nails, and then getting in and actually just genuinely destroying people. She felt right at home for this, and she ruled the rest of the match.
So I'm gonna throw a name out there for Marina Shafir. Female Goldberg.
Yeah,
build her up like that.
Sure,
that would be kind of great. Like, I think, like, when I was watching this, obviously I don't like. She'll be more of a like mixed martial arts type of fighter, but like watching her, especially in this match, made me think like, oh damn, one, I thought like, okay, she definitely needs to like I see what they're building with Moxley, but she's looking like a natural leader to Death Riders.
Yeah.
First of all.
Yeah.
And I think like she has put in really good work just as like, basically the lieutenant of Moxley.
Yeah.
But yeah, she very much killed it in this match.
Yeah, she is someone that, and by female Goldberg, of course, you mean you want her to punch a window of a car and then destroy her hand or arm and then forearm and then be out for a couple months.
Honestly, if they did that as a work, that'd be hilarious. Like if they had to write her off or something.
Yeah, just do that. Yeah, I think like obviously like Marina Shafir is not necessarily like Akira Hokuto, like all-time worker in the ring at all, but the thing about her works so well in the Blood and Guts match is that, and like I said, I think that a match like this, a multi-man schmaz, a thing like this, works better, less structured, less choreographed, and allows you to more have this improv flowingness to the whole thing. I think, and which is a very more an older school style, where you're calling more in the ring or whatnot. I think Marina Shafir thrives more in that element. I think the reason sometimes it doesn't work as well is because she's going for the choreographed stuff and she's just not that good at it. But when she's in a vibe like this, where she's not really doing choreographed things, she like knows what spots maybe to get to, but she's not doing like, Will Ospreay or athletic, sort of things. It's just like, she's just someone that goes out there and will just run over and kick a bunch of people and call it a day and, and knock people out. And it just rules. It's like, it's that kind of stuff that's like, it rules. I loved her so much in this match.
And I think like character-wise, it works for her, like what she should be, and kind of what,
her at the very end flipping off the crowd and just like I'm like, yes, let's do something with her. That's the sort of moments.
And like, I think it's a great spot to take the Death Riders when we'll go into that more with the men's too. But just like, I think I'd love to see her sort of take it over and be like, no, screw all this theatricality stuff.
Yeah.
We're just here to beat you into submission and take you out.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Like, her on the ground, like, with Shirakawa, like, just, that's good stuff. Like, you could see the intensity. Like, she's not gonna stop. She is a one-track mind of like, I'm not even here to win necessarily. I am just here to break my opponent.
Yes.
But yeah, no, I really, I've been wanting to see more of her. And I'm really hoping to get like, I'm curious they'll do it again if she beats Statlander at some point or whoever is the title holder, and it's back in the briefcase, baby.
Yeah, she's I think she really came out of this really strong, and in a weird way it does help that she like hasn't been seen on AEW. I can't remember if she's worked like Ring of Honor as well, but she's also, I know for the fact that she's been working on the indies as well. So she is like still be getting reps and all that stuff. But yeah, she came out of this really strong. I'm trying to think, is there anyone else that came out really strong to you?
Was Triangle of Madness.
Yes.
I thought they all came out looking amazing.
Okay. Julia, Hart, Sky Blue, Tekla.
One spot I loved, and a spot that is very like, this is a woman, like a spot you would probably get only in women's wrestling. Maybe Darby Allin could do it, but when they slip through the cage,
yeah,
that was cool.
That was really cool.
And I like it when take out the ref. What are you gonna do? Disqualify me? And in the spot of just like kicking people out of the cage and then locking us up with a total advantage. Like, that's good stuff. Like, and it built them up as heels. Like Sky Blue, like bleeding as much as she did. That itself is just that's work. That's putting yourself over. And I thought they just looked amazing. I don't know exactly where they can go really as a stable.
Yeah.
There's no like women's trios champion or anything, but
no, and I believe that Julia Hart and Sky Blue have lost in the tournament for the women's tag titles at this point. So I mean, they're contenders for other stuff. I think they're established enough at this point to be contenders for titles, right?
Yeah.
Tekla versus Chris Stat would be a great not TBS, women's AEW women's title match down the line. You know, I thought sort of like a dark horse underdog, great performance was Jamie Hayter. There's nothing you can really think of super memorable spots from her other than her trying to, I believe, power bomb Sky Blue through a table and the table not breaking whatsoever.
It bent.
It bent. It bent when she did the elbow drop.
Yeah.
But like her bumping in here was insane. Apparently, she took like a chair to the face and she has like had to get some like dental surgery. I think it was Mercedes just started dumping people outside, and Jamie Hayter's the one that just takes a bump directly on her face onto the steel steps. Like she was bumping all over the place in this match, and it is sort of like an unsung award that I'm giving her because it's like she's not necessarily a big standout, but for those that are like truly watching it and be like, oh no, she's doing some great stuff that no one's really going to notice.
And she made the heels look tremendous. Like,
exactly. Because that level of bumping is making your other opponents look great. Getting thrown out into the steel steps by Mercedes Moné made Mercedes like holy shit, Mercedes, goddamn, you're really throwing these people.
Like I love Mercedes Moné. I think she's great. I think the hate against her is over. Like I'm not in the IWC too much. I just see their takes, sometimes not willingly, because I'm like, I want to look up some information.
Yeah.
Why am I getting all this hate on Mercedes Moné? Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think she's been just doing great work for the business. I think her Ultimo gimmick is really good.
Yeah.
And again, in the story, it's all about storytelling. This is setting her up for an amazing fall. And I don't think anyone plays frustration as well as she does.
It's a great point.
And I can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
And but I also just enjoy seeing her in the rings. I don't mind seeing her win. I just know what they're building up to, and it's going to be great.
Yeah. We'll talk about more when it comes to like the Hall of Fame stuff a little bit later, because obviously she was on the ballot this year. But yeah, like that was a conversation piece that I was having for like Hall of Fame voting, was just this idea of like, this is someone that like, do I want to vote for her now? Because it's like, part of me is like, I kind of just want to see how this Ultimo thing plays out first, because like I really like Mercedes, but also she's like 33, she's super young comparatively to everyone else on the ballot, and it was just sort of thinking like she's right now in prime of her career. I think this Ultimo thing is very interesting, and I really like to see that. She does play frustration really well. She has kind of always done that throughout her career, so it is a fascinating fall. There is a slight nervousness to me that it's like she's going to get injured at some point and she has to give up all the titles. there's that in here, but I do think she plays in that well, and I cannot wait to see that unfold. It's just a matter of when that's going to happen, which I don't know.
And speaking of wrestling being dumb, the Harley Cameron
the puppet spot. Yes, let's discuss the puppet spot.
Every puppet spot always just gets me.
You're pro puppet.
I mark
you're puppet.
I mark out for a puppet. You might as call here for
it. I can't wait to see the Mercedes puppet in the Atlanta Center for Puppetry Arts.
Yeah.
So
when is the puppet gonna get on the ballot?
Well, the puppet's gonna reach 35 and be in the industry for 10 years. So
okay.
we're still at the start. We're still at the start.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought the puppet is always online. It has annoyed so many people, and to a degree, I think it's one of those things where it's like, wrestling can be dumb, but is this too dumb? Is this like too on the nose? But having the reveal be that the frustration, Mercedes like knows the puppet's here, hates the puppet, rips it off. Harley knows Mercedes is going to have that reaction, and comes prepared that underneath that puppet were brass knucks or steel knucks, look more silver than anything, and just walloped Mercedes. I was like, oh, what that it ends up doing is it then creates, she had the puppet thing for a while. She stopped doing it for a while. She brings it back for the build up for Blood and Guts. So then what it then becomes is building that back and creating that heat again and making and showcasing that Mercedes does not like this puppet builds up to that spot in the match where where Harley knows Mercedes hates the puppet, but is using it as a way to hit her. Is it like too cute sometimes? Maybe. Like you could have just put on brass knucks and hit Mercedes with it. But I think it's a nice little spot to help pay off that story, I guess, to say it. I think anything else I'm trying to think specifically. Mercedes was great. She didn't do a whole lot in terms of the violence and stuff. I had zero expectations that she would do a lot.
No.
The fact that she took a big bump off the side of the cage through a table is pretty good enough for me in terms of reaching the threshold of what this match.
Yeah, and honestly, again, character work, it totally fits with her character that she would not get bloodied. Like the CEO, I'm going
to have other people do my bidding, basically.
Yeah,
which I think commentary even alluded to at one point in the match.
And it also made sense that she was the one left in the ring. After the fact, she was not with her team.
Yeah. The idea of, speaking of the fall, the idea of all 5 of her other members of her team all in the ring holding up hands, and then they cut to Mercedes knocked out on the table. It was like, oh yeah, perfect. That's exactly what it should be.
Which, now that I'm thinking about it, immediate thought was I've been wondering what does the Triangle of Madness do? They should start taking out Mercedes Moné. That should be the first. Just start taking belts from her.
Sure.
Because you have 3 people. They all can't get belts. They all don't. How do they work as a stable? Their first target should be Moné.
Why not? She's got belts to spare.
Exactly. But that's down the line.
Yeah.
But as far as other takes, I think the heels came out of it looking a lot they came out looking a lot better.
Yeah.
The faces, like Will Nightingale was, I love her. She's probably my favorite wrestler on the women's roster.
Yeah.
And I'm keep on waiting for her to get the big push.
Same.
And I don't know why it really doesn't happen.
I kind of think she's winning the tag titles. That's my prediction. Is that the reason we've been hamster wheeling her for the past couple months is because we were just waiting to start the tournament. That's my prediction, but we'll see. I thought Megan Bain and Chris Stat both did really well as well. As other people that did well. Mina bleeding up buckets and taking the submission.
Yeah,
surrender.
Mina and Tony just doing really good work, and I honestly I think Mina and Tony are kind of where I see the tag.
Yes, I think those are the finals.
Yeah,
I think Mina and Tony and Willow and Harley are the finals for the titles, which I believe is at Full Gear.
That would make sense.
Oh, it makes sense. I'll look that up. But go ahead.
Yeah, I think the heels came out looking better. But I mean, like you were saying with Tater, it goes with all the faces. They made the heels look good. And Willow coming in number 1 and going and putting the work through the whole match, it's an hour long. That's an hour of work. That's and she did a lot of working in the beginning of it with Sky Blue. So I think just overall a great match. I
don't actually think the women's tag title tournament is ending at Full Gear because they're doing quarterfinal matches on Dynamite this Wednesday. Okay. There's no way they can finish it in time. Unless they do the semifinals on the pre-show thing.
What are you doing, Tony?
Yeah, I don't really think I would have thought. I swore that we were more far along than we actually were. Interesting. Anyways, Blood and Guts. Any other big thoughts about the women's Blood and Guts match? I thought it was really strong.
I'm just trying to think of any spots or no. I mean, this a really good match. I mean, again, great crowd. They were hot for it.
Yeah. Speaking of production quality, this time around they added light tubes inside the Blood and Guts cage.
I did like both the intro to the men's and the women's, like that. And I like how they were different colors.
Yeah.
I like colors.
Yeah. Andrew Erikson, quote, "I like colors."
Yeah, put down my tombstone.
I will do. Which it helps because obviously before you would just have the lights shining down through the cage.
Yeah.
And so it was a little bit darker the past couple of years. Adding this brightness a little bit better was a little more fun. But that being said, I think they should continue doing it, and I can't not wait for a future spot where someone rips a light tube off the cage and then uses it during the match. So can't wait for that, folks.
This man's a sicko.
This man, what can I say? We'll move along. I believe the next thing actually was the Falls Count Anywhere match with Hangman Adam Page and Powerhouse Hobbs. Again, I thought this was really good as well. I think Hangman and there's a little bit of the nervousness going into this of like, why are we doing a Falls Count Anywhere match on a Blood and Guts show? Like there's no way, like, what are they going to do? And I think they ended up doing really good stuff. They ended up just fighting around. They messed around on the outside. They brawled on the announce table and chucked Powerhouse Hobbs and an awful landing. I
don't know how he walked after that. Like,
same. I thought he blew out a knee or an ankle or something,
or just like broke his tailbone. Like he literally bounced.
Yes, it was terrifying. And obviously none of that mattered because the big spot at the end was knocking Powerhouse Hobbs off a balcony through a table, and then you have the table, and then one of the boxes, the production boxes, flying through the air and practically landing on his head.
And that was the production box that controlled all the lighting in the arena. And,
apparently, it's moments like that where you and I would turn to each other and be like, well, "That's not how that works."
But you know what? I'm here for it. Like, again, in the moment, I buy it.
Yeah.
In the same way, I buy that. Hangman could burn down a house and face no other consequences for it.
I buy that spot more of messing with the lights more than I buy throwing someone into an LED wall and then the LED wall short circuits. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, well, that's not how that works in any capacity.
And then some other like totally not connected rigging falls down.
Yeah. Oh my God, so dumb. What do you think about the Falls Count Anywhere match?
I enjoyed it as well. And I think like going into, again, it's all storytelling for me. Mm-hmm. Like, I think Hangman is one of the best in-ring storytellers. Like he has such amazing faces. Mm-hmm. Like at the end when the arena lights were flickering, just him standing over, like just like he is pissed off. Like, why am I here? What is this?
It's also like a horror movie vibes to a degree.
Yeah. And just like a hot crowd. Like, normally when you brawl into a crowd, it's a little dumb. Mm-hmm. They made it work.
Yeah.
I think that's just because they both really sold it.
Yeah.
But I think a big part of that is this Hangman. He's just a really good in-ring performer. And also a great promo. Like this, at first I was like, oh, we're doing Hangman and Samoa Joe again.
Yeah.
At Full Gear. When they announced, I was like, oh, okay. Like, yeah. I like both of them. Like, but it didn't fully buy, like, and the heel turn was obvious and everything. But I love the idea of, and I haven't watched Collision last night, so no, Steiner.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
So I love the idea of Hangman taking out the Ops one by one.
Yep. Easy wrestling storytelling.
Exactly.
Just fight through everyone else.
But the whole thing at the end of lowering the cage, that's just a cool spot.
Yeah. Which then sets up, obviously, we'll talk about this with Full Gear, the stipulation now being a steel cage match.
Mm-hmm. And again, good storytelling. Mm-hmm. And going into like, why are you having this Falls Count Anywhere match during Blood and Guts? Like, now you just sold a reason why. Like,
yeah,
it was like, this is a cage match. You want to put me in a cage? We're in a cage. And yeah, using like the Blood and Guts cage like for storytelling, even in the not Blood and Guts matches, like, one, it's just good for the show.
Yeah,
it sells the whole Blood and Guts atmosphere. It's good storytelling. Samoa Joe is great.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
I love hearing him on the mic. I love it when he like cool Uncle Samoa Joe is fun.
Sure.
Like scary Uncle Samoa Joe is wonderful.
Yes. Yes. I like that a lot. Samoa Joe's great.
Yeah.
Samoa Joe's great. His heel work is always phenomenal. I'm happy that he's in this role right now. He's doing great stuff as he always does.
He deserves to be in the main event scene, and but it's hard to really get him in because he is just like what has been his character for a while. Like for a while, it's been like was a cool uncle, basically.
Yeah, cool, badass, dude.
Yeah, and like but there hasn't been a real. I haven't felt a real like reason for him to be in the main event scene, like the last match. What was the last pay-per-view?
Why do I don't know? The last pay-per-view was, of course, going to be a pay-per-view titled Wrestle Dream.
Right. The Wrestle Dream match. Good. And I thought it was a good build, but it felt like a little like, interstitial, like, sort of like a transition to another feud that Hangman's going to have.
Yeah.
But
I felt it would be it could be a transitional thing, but I felt that it also could be the beginning of something. And obviously in hindsight.
And I think they've paid that off.
Yes.
And so like, it's easy for me to say, like, if you start some sort of feud or some sort of storyline and it's like, oh, this is immediately great.
Yeah.
It's another thing to start a storyline and it's like, okay, I'm not opposed. I like everyone in this, but like it just seems like, like we were saying, like this is just a reason for these two to get in the ring, not real like they have made that.
Yes.
And we'll get into it with the men's Blood and Guts, but I think they've done the same thing with the Death Riders.
Yeah.
But a really good match. Like just great spots, and they had a lot to live up to. Squash between just two Blood and Guts matches.
Yes.
Just a lot, like two very big spot heavy matches.
Yes.
And they did the work to make it just not, a whatever. Like obviously Hobbs is not going over.
Yeah.
So but
made it competitive, which is
made it competitive, and like, yeah, he's a guy who's always going to make it competitive.
I really like Hobbs a lot.
Mm-hmm.
He has the vibe to me that if I was a kid, he would probably be one of my favorite guys, because he reminds me, like, we haven't really had a guy like him, a big muscle bound power dude, since probably Batista.
Yeah.
That I can really think of off the top of my head. I'm sure there's somebody, but I can't remember them in any capacity. I mean, there's Braun Breaker as well, but his thing is a little bit more speed than anything else.
Like I kind of see like some like Lashley too.
Lashley, he's around the Batista time as well, and I can sort of see that. Yeah. But he doesn't. I don't know. There's not I don't get enough of the Batista vibe.
Hobbs and like Lashley is not as cool. I think there's a aura, like Batista definitely, like, and I think Hobbs has that same thing where it's just like, when he just like curls his lip a bit and like, oh yeah, this guy is he's a brick shit house, like, and like, no, I think he came out looking good too. Just like I'm really enjoying what the Ops are doing, like, and they are a great foil for Hangman.
Yeah, I fully agree. And obviously we'll see Shibata on Wednesday and then Joe on Saturday. Big week for Hangman here. Yeah. Next up, we had that segment with FTR and Ricky Steamboat. It was originally announced that it was going to be Ricky Steamboat and Ric Flair. Ric Flair apparently did come out before the show started to talk to the crowd, but basically was like, I'm not sticking around. I think he had some sort of medical issue. I forget specifically what it was, but he had some sort of medical issue where it was just like, I gotta go. I'm not gonna. I shouldn't have been here anyways. Basically,
he was too sober.
So he couldn't stick around. I think he tore something. Okay. I think is what it was, but I don't remember exactly what.
Honestly, I think that's the best. I know people have been upset that Ric Flair was around, and that's totally fair because Ric Flair is a complicated person.
Yes.
But I also think, it's Greensboro. Like the crowd wanted to see him, and I saw the video of him before the show. It's like, yeah, they wanted to see him.
It's the classic conundrum of like, you want to honor wrestling history, but wrestling history is very complicated to say the least. And it's a matter of what you're going to allow, what you're going to try to do. And, look, let's be honest, Ric Flair's not great. He's no Hulk Hogan.
He's alive.
First of all. But I'm comparing apples and oranges. Not apples and oranges, but different badness of apples. I don't know what the analogy is.
And I think I'm not a victim of Ric Flair. I'm not one of his kids. I can't find. I'm not gonna find as much fault with him coming out for a brief spot before the show. I would have been a little like, honestly, him at Revolution was like, why is he here?
Especially getting involved and everything.
But that was also like, okay, Sting's there. It sort of makes sense. But
it passes enough of a test where you're like, fine. Yeah. I can understand it. I don't like it, but I understand it.
He didn't need to be there. Yes. And
Steamboat was enough.
Yeah, Steamboat was great.
Steamboat was generally enough, and I thought it was a nice little interaction with FTR. Mm-hmm. Throwing back to the history, as we were talking about, the plot, the lore of it all, of talking about how Ricky Steamboat had his retirement match, 6-man tag on an indie show, WrestleCon indie show, again with FTR against somebody that I don't remember. I definitely watched the match, but it's been years, obviously. And yeah, it was a nice little spot continuing the FTR Living Legend stuff. It's funny to have Stokely Hathaway interact with Ricky Steamboat.
I think Stokely has been a great heat magnet. From what I gather, I know FTR is big in the North Carolina scene. Like,
of course, they're from they from and live there.
So they probably had to do a little extra to get the heat on them. And Stokely, great at getting that heat.
Correct. And then obviously doing it to a legend like a Steamboat is going to work, especially a Carolina legend. Like
but yeah, like the line of like, you wouldn't have to be here tonight if you weren't getting paid.
Yeah. Ricky Steamboat, I think, famously didn't get a lot of money from his wrestling days.
But no, I
nice little segment.
Nice
little segment, puts more heat on FTR, does what it needs to be doing.
And also just a good breather between just like two big matches. And before, the second Blood and Guts insanity.
Yeah. Which of course we did get the Blood and Guts, the men's match. Darby Allin, Roderick Strong, the conglomeration of Kyle O'Reilly, Mark Briscoe, and Orange Cassidy pick up the win here by defeating the Death Riders, Claudio, Daniel Garcia, John Moxley, Pac, and Wheeler Yuta. A lot of insanity in this one. A lot of different fun bits. I really enjoyed Moxley coming out and grabbing the weapons of the broken shards and stuff in the bucket. I thought everyone did great work here. They did have the plot and story of the match be that, the classic thing in War Games matches, and it's also sucks that you saw the Russo stuff, War Games stuff, but the classic thing that has always happened is the heels always get the advantage, right? Because it makes more sense in wrestling that the heels should have the advantage because then the babyface have something to work against. Obviously, when Vince Russo took over and did the War Games matches, he was just like, who gives it doesn't quite work. And obviously wrestling feels the need to like figure that out. And here you gave the women the advantage in the women's match, and in the men's match, you had the faces have the advantage. So how are we now that we've done that, how do we get around this? And the plot of the match obviously is, Mark Briscoe gets beaten up by the Don Callis family. And he's out. He doesn't make his thing. They send out Roderick Strong a little bit. It's basically 5-4 for a little bit. And then eventually Mark Briscoe makes his way out and turns the tide for the conglomeration and co, I guess. But outside of that plot structure, I thought this match was really, really fun. I felt the women's match was more like a classic War Games for me in terms of like the modern ones. This men's one, I don't know what it is, get more elevated than what they typically are. feel for me. Fighting was phenomenal. I think Roddy Strong looked great. Kyle O'Reilly, everyone bleeding buckets was great. Kyle O'Reilly obviously looked great. He was great. Darby getting thrown off the stage through a flaming table is obviously insane.
I have a note here.
Sure.
Pardon the language, but Pac is fucking huge. What the fuck?
Yeah, I don't know if he got bigger or if his singlet is accentuating his bigness more.
I also said he's now become the most clothed wrestler from the most naked wrestler that he was before.
Yes.
Which is also, it's just like, what did you do?
Yeah.
I'm not against it, but wow.
Yeah, it is. He looks massive.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is, but he looks even bigger than he always has. Maybe it's a lack of hair. I don't know what. I can't pinpoint it, but yeah, he ruled as always. He was really grim. Claudio was really good. Everyone was really. This match was great.
Big MVP. I think again, storytelling wise, again, you're building up this. Moxley should be coming out first.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't. They sent out Wheeler Yuta, the guy who practically has X-Pac heat at this point. He is the sacrificial lamb of the Death Riders, and he's being booked like that as well.
Yeah.
And it's great to see even the Death Riders have a hierarchy and have they're not actually in it to win it. They will also, they will play strategy and throw each other under the bus a little bit.
Yeah.
And
which is also interesting about that, right?
No.
Wheeler Yuta being the sacrificial lamb to go out first, right? Why not Garcia? Why not Daniel Garcia, the newest member?
Because Daniel Garcia is more boring.
Okay, so let's do the quick Daniel Garcia tangent. Okay, Daniel Garcia had always had a lot of promise on the indies.
Mm-hmm.
He goes into AEW, he does really well. He has a series of matches with Bryan Danielson that are phenomenal. And then he's just kind of around and not really doing anything. And the Jericho Appreciation Society, and he starts dancing a bunch. He's over with the crowd, but it's like he's not developing really. And part of maybe it's being associated with Jericho that it's just not really working. But nothing's really working. Nothing's quite clicking. I know I heard rumors at one point that he was considering leaving, and then he was convinced and stayed. Then he had a TNT title run that kind of was whatever and fine. It wasn't really special in any way. It was just like, okay, great, you finally get a singles title, and it's just like, all right, yeah, you had some matches. You basically feuded with Adam Cole exclusively and the Conglomeration exclusively, but it was fine, nice little series of matches. And now he's in the Death Riders, and he just feels like a guy again.
Which, for me, that works better. Ironically, the Death Riders is kind of like an anti-gimmick. They come out in all black. They don't come out. They all have entrances. They come out through the crowd. And
they're
everything.
So anti-gimmick that they wrap around to be a big old gimmick. Like they have these specialized entrances.
And I think that works better for Daniel Garcia. I think he actually did look good, coming out with just the MMA shorts, the hoodie and everything. I think that is a good look for him.
Agreed.
And I still wasn't enamored with him, but I think he works better as in that Death Riders gimmick of he is just here to do business and get out.
If I had to give him one note though,
mm-hmm.
he needs to go to what I'll call the Frankie Kazarian school of trash talking. He is really good, I think, at doing trash talking and whatnot, and I think he's got a vibe of that. But he needs to do it way more.
Yeah.
In a match like this, I want to see this guy do moves, and then everyone's beating down, and he's the guy that's constantly trash talking and talking to his opponents while beating them down over and over and over again. Because I also think that also sets him apart a little bit more from the rest of the Death Riders in a different, interesting way, where he's the guy that's just he's a small little I don't want to say a small little chihuahua, but he's a small yappier dog comparatively, whereas Pac is a pit bull, I guess.
Claudio's just I guess a mastiff or something.
Yeah, exactly. Where it's everyone has these sort of energy, and if you just make him a more yappier, I think think that would enhance him, and he would both set himself apart a little bit more, but also fit better with the cohesive vibe of the group.
Agreed. And I can see that happening.
Yeah.
I think I like him better in the Death Riders at
Me
this
too.
point.
Me too.
And
he just needs to. I think he's still very new, and I think he just needs to figure it out.
Agreed.
I would tell him just turn up the yappiness.
Agreed.
Yeah, Roderick Strong, Kyle Riley, both look great. Orange Cassidy, I thought was really great in here. He gets his hands stapled inside his pockets.
Good spot.
Good spot. Good solid spot. Mark Briscoe and Wheeler Yuta at the top of the arena, basically, practically. Lightsaber chair attacks to each other.
Wonderful.
Purely wonderful. And then obviously we get the sort of the Jay Driller on top of the cage, which ruled. Mark Briscoe's great. I love Mark Briscoe. I love Mark Briscoe teasing a Cactus Jack elbow to the floor through a table. Like, I was like, there's no way anyone's gonna do that.
No,
I don't think, you know, the sad thing about like the Mankind Undertaker spot is I don't think we're ever gonna do anything like that.
No, and I don't want them to, because like Mick Foley almost died doing.
I say that, but to be fair, actually, in the original Blood and Guts match, MJF pushed Jericho off the top of the cage, but then that got ridiculed by a bunch of people because you could see the boxes, the cardboard boxes, because they did it safely.
Yeah.
And people ridiculed them for doing it safely. But that was like the first time they've done it in a very long time that I can even remember. And they haven't done it since.
No.
But I do like the idea of like not doing it safely whatsoever. But if anyone's going to be able to do that spot, Mark Briscoe shouldn't. But I could see this crazy ass man, this crazy chicken farmer doing it.
And I always like the spot of like, whoa, on the edge of the cage. Mm-hmm. Like it's good stuff.
Oh yeah, I think it was like the nut shot to Mark Briscoe, and he falls over and grasps onto the
rigging or something,
rigging or whatever, and the crowd's like, oh, that ruled.
Yeah,
it's you know, some simple stuff like that. Simple stuff like that is parts of the selling. He doesn't have to sell it too much. He just has to sell almost falling off the building.
I made me appreciate also that the woman didn't really do anything on top of the cage because it sold. Like that's one good thing. I feel like the men's and the women matches were differentiated.
Agreed.
Very well.
Completely agree. I had a lot of nerves. I have this every sort of year with WWE specifically because they've been doing men's and women's for the past several. I don't know. Are we close to 10 years? Maybe 7, 8 years, probably, I want to say.
It was like the first women's Royal Rumble.
Oh, I wasn't even thinking Royal Rumble. I'm thinking specifically War Games when they did them in NXT first. Because that would have been like the 2016, 17, 18, something like that. I believe is when they started doing those. But the women's Royal Rumbles, I believe, also were like 2018, 2019.
2019, first ever women's War Games.
2019? Yeah, that one was great. But yeah, we're on 6 years of that. And I have the same sort of nerves going into Survivor Series as I did here. A issue that I find, especially with WWE, is that when you do these men's and women's events in the same show, you have to generate so many creative ideas because they have to find ways to differentiate themselves. And I find that WWE does not really do that much for the women's and does a lot more for the men's. They save all the ideas for the men's. They don't generate enough ideas. Thank God they have an AI.
I can't wait for Lashley to show up in the next women's match as Lord Lashley.
I'm speaking on this podcast too much about my disdain towards AI.
We've spoken off mic about it too, and it's great.
you, me, and the Pope. Yeah, but you have to generate enough ideas, and I think you nailed it on the head. I think both matches generated a significant amount of ideas that differentiated themselves enough. I can't necessarily think of repeated weapon spots between both matches. I mean, one match had a glass mirror. The other one had the bits of like the repeated spots really were just like, yeah, we still have glass flying around because Moxley brought the glass from that mirror back into the ring. So that through line works. You know,
I mentioned like Tekla and Julia Hart like escaping through
Yep.
the cage. Like
Yep.
that's probably a unique thing that you can only get the woman to do.
Yeah.
There's not enough tiny men who can do that.
Yeah.
But also like
having the men at the top of the fight at the
Mhm.
top of the cage, obviously do the fire table spot with
Mhm.
Darby. He's the only guy that's going to do that
Exactly.
probably.
Yeah. And that also works in gimmick. Like he is ironically the ultimate Death Rider in the sense that's what they're building up to.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think everything worked. Like Marina Shafir with the glass, like the stomping on the glass.
Yes,
like,
stomping on the glass and then kicking Mina Shirakawa, I believe. Yeah, they creative enough, inventive. They created and generated enough creative ideas to fully differentiate them, which is phenomenal. That is exactly what I was hoping for, what I need, and it is one of this. They nailed both of these matches.
Yeah.
Both of these matches. Did I like the men's one a little bit more? Yeah, because I felt like I said the first half of the women's had a little bit of a little too much sloppiness for me. But ultimately they obviously got there. But they both ultimately nailed these matches. And it's like this also comes 2 weeks, I believe, 3 weeks before WWE has their chance at doing their own War Games matches. And it's already like they're not going to be able to hit these in any capacity. Very much obviously they can't do this amount of blood. They won't do that. They won't do glass and all these different spots. They can't do this amount of violence.
They won't do the fire spot.
Well, Cody is there, so we can't discount it. But there's no way they can hit it, and they're going to have to do it in their way. And their way is so sanitized and corporate that it is like, I don't know how you an ultimate violence match at a
well. Also, can you actually see the ring? Because how many ads are going to be on the cage?
Interesting point.
Like what? How can I see it? The hard can. This is a big Snickers banner. What the hell?
I did not think about Io Shirai doing her patented moonsault off the top of the cage, or moonsault, not either moonsault or I don't remember what she does, or dive off the top of the cage with a trash can over her. But the trash can is sponsored by I don't know, dude wipes.
Yeah.
It would be funniest, I think.
And there's probably a big like. It's not a Slim Jim table. It's a Slim Jim like platform.
Yeah.
And it covers the whole top of the cage. He has to dive through it. Snap into a Slim Jim cage.
Oh my God, you're right. Snap into a Slim Jim cage. I did not honestly think about the Io Sky trash can spot thing until like I jokingly said the sponsorship thing. But then I remembered, I believe it was Money in the Bank or something recently where they had a ladder match where they had a specific, I want to say it was like a Slim Jim ladder, if we recall. They had a Slim Jim ladder, and that was the ladder used that the winner used. Because it was a tall enough ladder for the winner to use.
Yeah, because Slim Jim, it makes you win. Like,
yeah, exactly.
I've had this beef stick and beef. Like,
beef, quote unquote.
We know the price of beef nowadays. It's less and less now.
Yeah. But they basically they sold it. They sold that as, oh, we'll have all the pictures and video of the winner on a Slim Jim ladder, right?
And you speak of like, these matches are booked to hell and back. Like now you have to book it because you have probably advertising agreements.
Yes. We know that Io Shirai is going to do a dive off the top of the cage because she's done one for the past 6 years, practically. She's done it every single year for 6 years. We know that this spot is coming. If we know the spot is coming, why don't we throw a bunch of ads on the trash can? I didn't think of it at all. Now I'm infuriated.
I mean, that's kind of why I got turned off WWE again. Was for a while it was just like, okay, there's a lot of dude whites banners, but I could deal with that. Then you had like the prime hydration station, and it's like that's gonna get into like half the matches, a spot with a prime hydration it's like, like that's. You talk about like kayfabe and like that breaks kayfabe too. When it's like, oh, it's not storytelling. There's no storytelling happening. It's just like you're just getting us to the next ad.
Yeah.
And that's frustrating.
Yeah, exactly right. Back to AEW men's thing off that tangent. Any other bits? You talked a lot about the story, and obviously a big thing out of this is Moxley being a big old loser yet again, surrendering, tapping out yet again. Obviously, the big one was at All In with
Mhm.
Hangman Adam Page in the Texas Death Match, and you have another spot here where he taps out to Kyle O'Reilly, which great setup into that finish, by the way, of Kyle Knox.
He looked like $1 million.
He looked like $1 million indeed.
And that's the one thing, like, I think a lot of the hate on the Death Riders gimmick is almost kind of worth it. I feel like overall this has been Moxley putting over a bunch of people.
Yeah.
And, it's sort of like, I was talking about Triple H earlier and his, the reign of terror and everything. This is sort of like an inverse of that, where he did his own little reign of terror just to put other people over. You could definitely argue it went on too long.
Went on a little bit too long, and also got real bad in certain aspects. And Adam Copeland match.
And Darby was on Mount Everest. That probably didn't help.
Yeah.
But he built up enough heat where at this point you love to see him like give up and look like pardon the language, a bitch.
By time the Owen Hart match the Owen Hart tournament came around, we got to the point of we so desperately want someone to beat him. We're demanding it, and it was like it's the demand between Ospreay and Hangman Adam Page. It tied into the booking, obviously. That was the intention, and you're forcing the audience to want someone to win this so badly. And when it starts looking like it could be Hangman, the audience is immediately like, "That's the guy. We have to do this." And it ultimately pays off here. You have like these moments where he's winning matches by count out or disqualification or whatever. And then you have Kyle O'Reilly actually finally beating him, tapping him out here, and losing it for the Death Riders.
And also just like every single time it's Moxley not look like being out Death Ridered by someone, like Kyle O'Reilly just full on Crimson Mask making him tap out. Like,
this whole death jitsu thing, and then Kyle O'Reilly, an actual jiu-jitsu like belt holder, just out jitsus him.
Yeah. And Darby Allin, like, oh, you think you're hardcore? I will sit here and take it.
Yeah, I'll force you to quit.
Yeah. And yeah, I think he's really putting himself in a good position. One, to like put people over. One, to I hope he's writing himself out. He's going to take a break soon.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're building that up in the Death Riders internally, where there's going to be a coup,
It definitely feels like after these three things, the Hangman, Darby, and Kyle O'Reilly moment here, it does feel like the next story beat for the Death Riders is some sort of internal coup to kick Moxley out. And the question of who then takes it over is the interesting one.
And I think that gives him a good opportunity of one, like he's put in so much work. He's Moxley. He's like he needs to probably just like sit and get some more red blood cells. Made.
This guy needs to go on an actual vacation. Anytime I hear that this guy has a planned vacation, he sticks around the entire and skips it.
So I look forward to him getting some time off. Not because I'm tired of seeing him on TV, but I think he's
earned it.
He's earned it. He's salvaged what was initially like honestly a stupid gimmick. Into like a really good story. And I all credit to him. Like he's
obviously a lot of this stuff is more, I feel like it's more conjecture from the audience of what we think the next story beat is going to be in the text of the storylines, right? It's more so just like this consistent thing of Mox is the guy that loses, but and quits ultimately is the bigger point.
And I think there has been some on screen. It's all been. I mean, I could be reading into this, but I think Marina Shafir says a lot with like just a stare.
Sure. Yeah.
And she has been his main lieutenant. She was the briefcase holder and everything. Like of course she would be upset. Like, what do you mean you quit?
Yeah.
Like, who have I been following?
Yes. We all fight so much that and that's the other thing too, is that like we all fought so much to make sure that you were AEW World Champion because we were following your lead, right?
Mm-hmm.
But anytime you don't have us anymore, you quit practically immediately. Like like it is this like fragile house that they've built. It's like it's almost like having this like really charismatic leader that is really ultimately bad at his job to a degree, surrounded by competent people, but as soon as those competent people are gone, it exposes him as this dumb idiot, bad at his job leader. And I wish there was a common contemporary example of that, but I can't think of one, man.
So competent now. Like we are really living in such well-run times.
A competent society.
It's great.
So who do you think we'll project this out, even though we're probably still far away from it? Who would you think could lead that coup? Who do you think, if they continue with the Death Riders and don't dissolve it completely, who do you think could either lead that coup or become a replacement? Come in, maybe it's an outside person, maybe it's who would you like to see run the Death Riders and face off Moxley for the Death Riders or whatever?
So you have more context for this. Like I'm not as familiar with his work, but Gabe Kidd showed up.
Sure.
Like I don't know if there's more to be done with that. What
more to be done with that is he's still under contract of New Japan, and we're just waiting for him to. Basically, we're just waiting for him to leave New Japan at this point.
I legit do want Marina Shafir. I think one, it's just a good inversion on like, I mean, we've had like, female managers, but to have one who's also like, who is
almost like the female Don Callis to a degree, but the complete opposite where it's silent too.
But also in ring as well.
Yeah.
Like, and I think she has a great like just presence to like she looks like a leader. Like she looks like people were. I think Pac looks as. I don't want to hear Pac. I think he's too incomprehensible. So
the problem you need a good talker too. I think. And Marina is not, because she's a silent but deadly type.
But I think having a lieutenant sort of type, and who that would be, I don't know. Is Wheeler Yuta good at talking?
He's decent enough.
Okay.
He's not. None of these people are Moxley level.
That's the thing. I would like to see, like, it would be kind of fun to see Marina Shafir in the league, but then have a talker, like sort of a the mouth of Sauron, so to speak.
Yeah, a Stokely Hathaway type.
Yeah, and this like, but it'd be fun to be like Wheeler Yuta, like Marina Shafir pushes him out and like says something and is like, okay.
Yeah. Can I give one pitch that I saw online that I've been thinking a lot about recently?
Yeah.
Swerve coming in back as a heel, as when he was a heel.
I mean, as a sicko, he would totally fit in.
No Nana.
No.
He replaced his manager with Shafir practically. No. And obviously the big would be the biggest star replacement and would obviously be the best talker of the group as well.
It leads right into Hangman.
It can lead back to Hangman. It can lead to obviously him versus Moxley, which would be fun. We do know that Moxley is a big fan of Swerve because he was a big fan of Killshot and Lucha Underground, which is who Swerve was. So I saw that online and I thought about it. I was like, pretty good. Pretty good.
So one thing I'll say, and this has been probably my favorite thing about AEW, is almost every single show I watch of them, I do have these, my brain goes into overdrive, like, okay, where could they go with this?
Yeah.
And that's fun. That's some of the most fun about wrestling, where the storytelling is good, where you could go a lot of different ways.
Yes.
And like, for example, I was thinking at first with the Hangman Samoa Joe bit, I was like, one fun thing could be, the Young Bucks are desperate. And Hangman is a spiteful asshole. Whatever, like, we're gonna take your trios championship, and the Young Bucks sort of go on a tweener route where it's like they're just desperate enough to get some gold, get a win, and like, hey Hangman, do you wanna go for the trios champion?
Look, and if we had to do one segment where we try to see Nick Jackson sell the title belt at a pawn shop, look, we're gonna have to do it.
Yeah. And see that might not happen, but there's a bunch of other great things you can do.
Yeah.
And I like how AEW is building that, where one, it's just good for the product, because this is wrestling. There's a lot of insane things that can happen. Like people get hurt all the time.
Yeah.
So you got to have options on the table. You can't like doing these like like what you said with Mercedes Moné of like it could all come crumbling down with just one bad bump. Like having options and having the storyline flexibility, which I think AEW has done really well without the storylines in progress being, so like whatever, just to have that flexibility. I think that was an issue with AEW like last year, watching it, where it's like nothing was really like locked in. It just felt like it all did feel like a lot of setup, a lot of just sort of.
We were like, what's the end goal of all of this?
Yes.
And we just couldn't tell.
And now I'm not worrying about the end goal because I just like it's all working.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of places it could go.
Yeah. You're enjoying the ride right now.
Exactly. And I think this is what the ideal of wrestling should be.
Yes.
I'm not saying AEW is perfect. I'm not saying like this is at the top.
But this episode of television.
Exactly. And I think they've been consistently doing that. And yeah, wrestling's fun.
Yeah, I fully agree. I did not realize, by the way, we've been talking for an hour and 41 minutes already. I'm like, oh boy, we got to move this show along because we got Full Gear to talk about.
Those are rookie numbers. We should do a blank check 4-hour show.
We've done a 3-hour show of Ring Post Radio before. Full Gear. It is the show that is this Saturday where is this? Newark, New Jersey at the Prudential Center. This Saturday, the 22nd. We have some matches announced. I'm going off the Wikipedia. Obviously, we have their pre-show stuff. I know you're jazzed about this, of course. Boom and Doom, Big Boom AJ is back, and he's teaming up with QT Marshall to face off Roppongi Vice, Rocky Romero, and Trent Beretta. We also have on here a $200,000 four-way tag team match where it's Max Caster, Anthony Bowens versus the Bang Bang Gang, Austin Gunn and Juice Robinson, versus Big Bill, Brian Keith, and versus the Outrunners. Do you have any big thoughts, sweeping thoughts about this preview show? It's
definitely a pay-per-view lead-in show.
It's definitely a pay-per-view lead-in show, but obviously, as a man that frequents Costco, I'm rooting for Big Boom AJ, of course.
Yeah.
Is he still a Costco guy at this point? Like, is Costco still a gimmick for him?
I don't know. I know there's the Rizzler and everything. He's now an AI NFL commercial, so he's Yeah, there was a NFL commercial they did with AI. It looks terrible.
I saw a commercial today on YouTube that was, I don't remember what the company was, but it was fully AI. At one point, they do a shot of someone getting a haircut, and the person's face is such an over-exaggerated response, but the barber goes over to cut his hair, and when he clips with the scissors, his head is here and the scissors are here. He's nowhere close to cutting him. It's like, not only is this AI, it's not even like good AI, because it's like on the third shot, it's like, this is so obviously not real. Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, this NFL commercial, it was it was just so NFL can be like, hey, we're embracing AI. So it had a bunch of, real NFL athletes and, the biggest A-listers like the Riz.
By the Rizzler, of course. Of course.
Doing his thing. Like, just for listeners, I rub my chin because
this is not what Rizzler does.
Wait, what does he do?
He's more of a, finger across the chin and then sort of on a cheek thing.
I'm sorry.
You're more of a 6'7" guy. We can all agree.
Honestly, I do like how 6'7" seems to piss off people. What do you mean? The kids don't know anything nowadays. Back in my day, it's like, cool, you've become the boomer you hated.
Exactly. Speaking of boomer, Big Boom AJ and QT Marshall.
Yeah, the pre-show.
It's a pre-show. Let's look at some matches here. Obviously, I believe it was announced last night. Darby Allin versus Pac is going to be a special singles match here. Excited about that.
That's
excited about
lead
that
off
one.
too. That's like it's.
Well, I won't say lead off. I don't know what order this is.
I guess they don't have an order yet.
No.
Okay.
But still, probably near the top, anyways. Yeah. But still, very excited about that. That is a very sexy matchup for me. I don't know if you have any grand thoughts. I really can't dig into it other than say it's gonna be a good one.
It's gonna be a good one. I'm sure Darby's gonna get thrown around like a rag doll. Pac seems to like do a lot nowadays with his build.
Yeah. He also seems to have dialed down a little bit of the high flyingness that he had, which is probably a good idea with given his age and amount of injuries he's had in the past several years.
It also fits, the Death Riders gimmick. Like they're not high flyers; they're just there to take you out. They don't need to get up high. Like, why would we do that?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
There is also a $1 million trios match, where it is going to be read the wrong one. Kenny Omega and the Jurassic Express, Jungle Jack Perry and Luchasaurus versus Josh Alexander and the Young Bucks.
I'm looking forward to it.
Me too.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun. I've enjoying this Young Bucks run of
poor desperate souls,
desperate for money. Like it's a fun gimmick, and every single pay-per-view now, I'm looking forward to their entrance.
Yes, that is a fair point. That is a fair point. And obviously, the return of Kenny Omega that I'm always jazzed about.
Yeah.
Should be a very good one. Very fun trios match, I think. At least like 3.5, probably.
I'm curious what they're gonna do with Jurassic Express.
Yeah, me too.
Jack Perry seems to be in a tweener route where they're obviously faces. They're faces now, but Jack Perry still seems to be a little bit of a little stinker.
Yes.
And I don't buy that. I don't know if they'll do it this soon, but I could totally see him doing something with Callis.
Yeah.
Him and Callis, I think would get along quite well in terms of just big hater energy.
Yeah, he has a smug sort of face that would work with Don Callis right next to him, yapping his gob.
And of course, with any chance to get one over on Kenny.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
So I'm looking forward to that. That's just going to be a good one. There's a bunch of good performers in that ring, and you have a good storyline there, just of terms of they want money.
Fully agree. We also have here, and here we go, all the other championship matches. We'll start with the one we have no idea anything about, kind of. The brand new AEW National Championship will be decided in a casino gauntlet match. Does Wikipedia list? No, it does not. Wikipedia. I know there's some people have been announced. I know Jet Speed have been announced for this match.
Looking on Cage Match, it's Shelton Benjamin, Bobby Lashley, Ricochet, Mike Bailey, Kevin Knight, and then there's 2 question marks still.
Interesting. Yeah, because I think it's they typically announce 8-ish people, but there's it could obviously go more. I am fascinated to see what this is. I don't know if you read up on your AEW National Championship news, but basically it is a title that is intended to be defended both in AEW, CMLL, basically other partners, Rev Pro, and New Japan, and basically any men's partnership that they tend to have. That is this intention. It used to be what the international title was kind of about. And then that got merged into more of a Triple Crown situation with the Unified Title Championship sort of thing. So now they're doing it again, basically. I don't know. Obviously, all the participants that we know about are all AEW people. I don't necessarily love that because I kind of really would love a CMLL guys in here. If this title belt is intended to be defended in other territories, promotions, I think this match needs to have more other promotional people. I think if Gabe Kidd's around, throw him into the match. If you can get someone, Mystico, Mascara Dorada, Hechicero, even though he's kind of yes, no, throw him into the match here as well. I think and to that extent, I would also very much love for the first inaugural winner to be someone from another promotion. Yeah. I think that would be very interesting. Gabe Kidd is someone that I would find interesting in little ways. He was a former global champion, which is the mid-card belt in New Japan. He just lost it to Yota Tsuji. And then for whatever weird reason, out of respect that the two factions have decided in New Japan, they are teaming up with one each other in the World Tag League. And there is something interesting that I find with that of if you have Yota Tsuji with a global championship and Gabe Kidd with the AEW national championship. I also like the idea of throwing it on a CMLL guy like Hechicero or Mystico or something like that, so that we start off strong with more of the interpromotional thing. It could easily just be Ricochet wins it, which would be fun. I think would be a fun thing. and then we get to see Ricochet and CMLL and New Japan and Rev Pro. And I think that'd be fun too.
Yeah, I think that would be my ideal, because one, I don't think that AEW does not need another men's title belt on, especially on TV.
Sure.
I mean, all the talk, like, we already had the women's tag team, belts coming in.
Yep.
And like, the woman should be getting more TV time, and another men's belt to be defended does not help that. But if it's primarily defended in other promotions that does double duty of one, it's not taking up TV time, but it's also selling AEW to other audiences.
Yeah. My dream situation is put this title belt on like a Mystico, for example, where he can be in CMLL every single day holding that title belt. Obviously,
agreed.
I think an ideal situation is that this belt, if it's on an AEW wrestler, it can be defended on TV, but I would like to not see this belt on TV in any capacity, maybe some updates or whatever. But then for a pay-per-view, you bring in the title belt holder, have him defend the belt against someone on AEW, and then if they win, they go back to the promotion and they defend it there, and it becomes a belt, a true traveling belt. And that's if it just disappears in AEW,
and then build it up to like it could be like the Forbidden Door, like title, like big title,
the big main event match, so like Forbidden Door. Yeah, that could be a fun idea. That being said, it's called a national championship, and it's an international title,
which is that is weird.
I don't love that. But yeah, I'm fascinated what could be. I would love for it to just be like immediately gone in that regard, but remains to be seen, I guess. We literally don't have any other non-AEW people announced for this match, so who the heck knows that that's a reality. That being said, I do think I would put on Ricochet over all those people.
Agreed.
No DQ match for the AEW TNT Championship. Kyle Fletcher versus Mark Briscoe. The situation here is that if Briscoe loses, he'll be forced to join the Don Callis family. So yeah, it's pretty much at this point, Mark Briscoe has to win. This is like the fifth match it feels like that they've had, fifth or sixth. They've had so many matches together. At this point, something has to give. Mark Briscoe should win here, because I don't necessarily want to see. Now, it could be fun to do like bits of Mark Briscoe and the Don Callis family. He's forced to feed them chicken or something. I don't know.
He has to wear like a suit or something.
Yeah, he's like their butler. That old gimmick.
Like, clean yourself up, man.
Exactly. Oh yeah, Don Callis 100% would tell him that he's got to shave his mohawk,
shave those sideburns.
100%. That's what Don Callis would have him do. But yeah, but I also think it's just like I don't necessarily want to see that, because that also continues the feud to a degree. At this point, I just want to see Mark Briscoe win.
I think Kyle Fletcher has outgrown the TNT title. He should be main event scene, and there's no one in the Don Callis family that's really doing main event.
Which is funny, because 2 pay-per-views he challenged for the world title, and that feud was about, are you ready to be a main event player? And everyone walking away at that point is like, yeah.
So I think him losing will honestly be good for him. I think he's sort of like being the TNT title holder, even though he's been a good champion. It just it's artificial ceiling for him there. So I'd like to see him like branch out, and I think that's just gonna be a good match, and it's no disqualification too. So there's gonna be some sick shit happening.
Yeah, I love Kyle Fletcher. He is I've always loved Kyle Fletcher. He's such a future prospect. Do you know Kyle Fletcher's age off the top of your head?
Is he like 28 or something?
I think he's younger than 28.
I hate that.
He's 26.
Oh man.
Yeah. Upsettingly young, and upsettingly like just genuinely like great. And it's like, oh yeah, he's 26. Is he ready for this? Yeah, he's been ready for a little bit now, but it's 100%. I can't wait for this.
But helps his age. Like, I don't think there's a rush to get him like the world title, but he deserves to be in the mix.
Exactly. Exactly.
And yeah, he's been a great heel. I think his heel work has been so good. Him and Don Callis work really well together. It's gonna be a fun match, and I'm with you. I think Mark Briscoe should come away with it. I think they've been building him up enough.
And realistically speaking, Mark Briscoe wins. Let's say you have the Continental Classic right around the corner. It should be we will. I don't know if they even talked about it, but I have to imagine that we'll get like participants announced at Full Gear.
No.
because I think in the past they've had matches start at Full Gear, so that even could happen on Wednesday. So it is this thing of like you can put Kyle Fletcher in that and pause him in a certain degree during the Continental Classic, and then you can come back in the new year and push him into the main event scene, and that gives Hangman a little bit longer for leash.
And that also I think gives the Don Callis family the internal drama there some more juice. Like it's more than just Takeshita and Okada.
This Kyle Fletcher now wins the Continental Classic. He now has a title match against Okada.
Yeah,
that could be fun. That could certainly be
perhaps Takeshita costs Okada the title.
What else we got here? We have for the women's title, AEW Women's World Championship, Chris Stat versus Mercedes Moné. I made a prediction after Wrestle Dream. In part, my prediction was about the whole sort of kit and caboodle of the Willow Nightingale wheel a little bit, the women's tag titles and everything. And we're sort of here back at a position where Mercedes Moné, TBS champion, holding all these belts, is now yet again challenging for the women's world title, much like she did against Toni Storm at All In Texas. I kind of think that we have figured out this booking log jam of the women's tag titles, and now that we're moving forward with that, and Tony is moving towards those tag titles, we will probably. My prediction is Mercedes wins the title here.
I want her to win.
I really love Chris Stat though, and it's a heartbreaking decision for me to say that, but I kind of think Mercedes should just win the title here.
I really like Chris Statlander too. I don't know. There's something about her which does not scream top of the card for me.
Chris Stat,
yeah. Like I think like she's a really good worker. Like she's great in the ring.
Yeah. What's missing?
I think there's still like almost a little charisma.
Okay.
Needed. Like she looks good, like holding the belt and everything. Like I think she's been a good champion, but I don't know. There's something that's still not there. Mm-hmm. I don't think she's had like a really good feud. I was hoping they would build it up with Willow. They did not. And truthfully, I'm just more interested in Moné. One, I think the sooner Moné gets the world title, the sooner her downfall starts.
I would agree.
And that I'm just more interested in.
Yeah.
But I think either way, it'll be a good match. It'll be a really good match.
Agreed. These women have had great matches in the past. Last year, I want to say. So I fully suspect that they'll have a great match here as well. And I could see that. I mean, I think like there is an element that I agree with you. I do think Chris Stat is a little bit. Is not a champion and like a contender, certainly, like in that stage.
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, realistically speaking, you're not necessarily far off in being wrong, simply because like one of her best runs prior to all this was her heel run, where she had the manager of Stokely Hathaway, which is like obviously a charisma machine, mouthpiece for her. Where if she's missing a level of charisma, you gave her Stokely and it ended up working as an act.
And I think before that, when she was working with Willow is
the charisma,
so much charisma that like they were a good tag team. And I was honestly hoping that these tag team
titles would have existed back then. Yeah.
Yeah. Or even now that, they've constantly had the hints of Willow and Stat, working together again and like getting over their past, their past drama, their past feud, and either that would lead to Willow getting part of the main event scene, the title scene, which she has not, or the tag team belts. They would be, sort of reluctant partners again.
There's an element of Tony and Mina winning the tag titles and Willow coming up short with Harley, realizing that Harley is not the person that she needs to be partnered with, and it needs to be Chris Stat, and that's how Willow is able to defeat Toni Storm.
And see, that's why I like AEW. There's so many options.
That thing of like those two dynamics of everything.
I think they have a great dynamic together, and the match itself is going to be great though. Like,
agree.
Like wherever it leads to, I'm looking forward to it. But I think the match itself, like it's just two wrestlers who are just really fun to watch.
Exactly.
And they'll make each other look great.
I agree. I fully agree. Tag team match here for the world tag team titles. Brodito versus FTR in my last thing for Wrestle Dream. I said that Bro Dito, I think, has had a good run. I think a good serviceable run. I think they're kind of a good. It is a good time, I think, to consider ending their title reign. I think FTR have been doing great stuff. I think they've been elevated even more. And also, if you look at the breadth of the tag team division, you have the return of Jurassic Express, a babyface team currently. You have the Young Bucks, who are, you hear these rumors and see these things of kind of considering babyface turn a little bit there. And if you're going to do all that, you should probably have a heel team win. I think, and my prediction last time was, I think FTR should beat Bro Dito at the next pay-per-view. Here we are at the next pay-per-view. And same thing I said with Mercedes Moné. I think FTR should win the titles here.
I agree as well. FTR has been looking really good. They've been a great heel team. So especially thanks to Stokely. He's just great to have around. I think having Stokely there gives a chance for Banditos. You know, he has a bit of his own cadre. Like, will his mom show up and hit Stokely in the head with like
there's a grandmother, I think, as well.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of good bits there that you can do. And I agree that Bro Dito, I think, has run its course, which
a great course.
Like for a team that is basically like, it does just feel like we have two guys who are really good performers. Let's just throw them in a bowl and see if it works. And it has.
And it worked. It was magic.
Like
they threw them in a bowl together for this tag team tournament, and it ended up working so much that TK was like, "Yeah, we're gonna go with them."
And it's just like that's a team that has gone over purely based on just shoot skill alone.
Yes.
Like, you have Brody King, who is just a huge monster who is somehow also agile as hell and can move around the ring so well. And Bandito's the complete opposite of like, okay, he's this guy who is a high flyer, like this is a great lucha style wrestler, but also is just powerful as hell.
Yeah.
And they've both worked into the, I don't even know if you want to call it a gimmick, but just like an aura. They're just the way they carry themselves in the ring, like
the vibes.
Yeah, the vibes. Like seeing Brody and Bandito doing the gun point in the ring before a finish always gets me to mark out. Like, and they've good run for a team that really had no real business being as successful as it has been.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's run its course, and they would be a good way to put FDR over as a heel team as well.
Agreed. Now, do they continue? Yeah, sure. To me, it's like, they can continue. I think as a tag team champions, it's like, I think we've reached the point where it's like, we need to bring in heels as the champions. I think FTR are obviously ready at this point. But they're a great act, so just keep them around is what I would also say.
Yeah, and I think, but they're also both great singles wrestlers. So it's like,
exactly.
I think if they're not holding the tag belts, they both have a chance to, the Continental Classic's coming up that. They both should be in it.
Yeah. There's a Ring of Honor pay-per-view where presumably Bandito's defending his title in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, something like that. So there's always stuff around the corner for both of those guys, either as tags or singles. Plus his buddy Matthews, tag partner for Brody King in the past, that presumably coming back at some point. I don't know. We'll see with that. And then obviously your main event, AEW World Championship match, Hangman Adam Page versus Mojo, this time in a steel cage. It doesn't get enough of the juice that you want. And I don't know why, because I was super jazzed for Wrestle Dream. And this is more heat, more of a gimmick. But for whatever reason, I'm not all the way. When I said that match, the drive, the desire, whatever, wasn't fully there. I really want to see this match, but it's not like I'm salivating at the thought of it.
I'll say this: I want to give. I think it's going to hinge on the Shibata Hangman match on Dynamite.
Okay,
I think that's going to be the turn to see if, like, I want to see Samoa Joe actually come in looking a little scared going into Full Gear.
Yeah.
I want to see him. I know typically, face should be the underdog, but I think Samoa Joe as the veteran, like even as a heel, can show a little fear and still be over.
Yeah.
And I Hangman plays unhinged so well. I want to see just like you're stuck in this cage with me.
Yeah.
And yeah, I want to see where it goes.
Agreed.
But I think it's going to be a very good match.
Agreed. Agreed. I mean, I have no that's the thing. It's like there's a lot of this of like I have no concerns that this match is good, or won't be good. Rather, I think this match will be great. I just don't know why I'm not like 100% there. Maybe it is. Maybe I'll get there on Dynamite.
I think a big part is just it's just like any rematch, especially so soon after the last pay-per-view.
Which the rematch was a little bit disappointing for me. I had higher expectations for that first one at Wrestle Dream, and it didn't quite hit there. And I think maybe I talk about this on the show all the time, where it's like I think maybe it's this time around my body is trying to be like save my excitement, and so I don't get overextend myself to a degree, so that when it does happen and it blows my mind, then it's like okay, great, then perfect. It doesn't destroy I'm trying not to destroy my expectations.
I do think this has been better built up in terms of one, it's not two faces. It's not two faces in the main event,
or like at least a face and a tweener.
Yeah, it is very much like Samoa Joe is playing heel. I could see him getting a lot of people marking out for him in New Jersey though. So
yeah.
But it's I it's to be there's still built for it in my mind, but it's gonna hinge on that Shibata match.
Yeah, I'm very very excited for this. I think Full Gear so far looks like a really solid card. I think I'm excited for every single match. I mean, realistically speaking, main card. I think realistically speaking, the match I'm least excited for is probably the trios match, and that has Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks in it. I mean, maybe the Casino Gauntlet match
depends on who the mystery
exactly
are.
Yeah, it's maybe the Casino Gauntlet match as well, but it's just like I don't know. Like I'm not really excited. I'm more like agnostic about it because it's just like I have no idea what I should expect from that. Because I don't know who's going to be in it. The Casino Gauntlet matches tend to be fun, so but I don't know. I have no idea how to judge it basically. But yeah, I'm very much excited for this card. I assume we'll be watching it on Saturday.
Yeah,
we'll have to figure that out. We have a lot of stuff to figure out. But we gotta watch. We have a movie maybe later today that we have to figure out as well. Before we go, because I know we're over the 2-hour mark. And I know we also have to cut down some banana trees. Thank you for coming over. Before we go, though, we got on Friday, which very much distracted me at work. We got on Friday the results of the Wrestling Observer Newsletter Hall of Fame. 8 people went in this year. There's going to be a lot of people that you probably have never heard of, like Bobby Bruns, Grant Hamada, Darrell Dixon, Spiros Arion, all went in. And from modern US and Canada, well, also Dave auto-inducted someone, Raul Paoli. He's a French promoter. He's the guy that basically brought wrestling to France. It was extremely successful. But in modern US and Canada, we had 3 inductees. CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, and Sabu all went in. CM Punk went in 65.5% of the vote. Cody Rhodes 64.4%. Sabu hasn't been on the ballot, I believe, since 2006 or something like that. Went on the ballot, returned after his passing, and immediately goes into the Hall of Fame. So massively. And then outside of that, no one from Japan went in. No one, Junkyard Dog, no one from Historical went in either. So I just want to get your thoughts on the modern results here, Andrew. You have Punk, Cody, Sabu going in. FTR, Drew McIntyre are falling off. And so the rest of the ballot next year are the Briscoes, Samoa Joe, the Hardy Brothers, the Steiner Bros, Moxley, Randy Orton, Becky Lynch, Edge and Adam Copeland, Bill Goldberg, The Outsiders, Mercedes Moné, Trish Stratus, and Seth Rollins. Those last 3, by the way, all under 11%. You need 10% to fall off. Mercedes got 10.9. Trish, in classic Trish Stratus fashion, has gotten 11% the past like 40 years. Well, this time she got 10.5. And then Seth Rollins got 10 exactly.
Okay.
Probably 1 point away from falling off the ballot entirely for his third time. But this time he stuck around. Do you have any big thoughts about, people hear my thoughts of the ballot this Wednesday, but do you have any big grand thoughts? I know I've talked to you a little bit about it, about any of these people that got inducted or the rest of the ballot as I pull up who is added to Modern. So just what are your thoughts on those results so far?
I think it's surprising. Like there's the ones who didn't make it. Like I don't think there's any argument against the 3 who were inducted.
Sure.
And I've had my take on like, I'm a big baseball fan, so I'm used to the Baseball Hall of Fame where, they go in after like you have to be retired for 5 years and then you're eligible.
Yes.
So it's always been a bit of a like talking Wrestling Hall of Fame has always been a bit of a,
especially knowing it's based off the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Yeah, it's always been a bit wild. Like Mercedes Moné, I think she should be in, but also like, yeah, she's literally having, you could argue, her best run right this moment.
Yeah.
And she's only 33.
Yeah, I believe so.
Like that is, like Cody didn't get the world title till 40 or something. Like there's so much career left where I almost feel like,
yeah. There's a lot of people that look at Modern and say, I'm not voting for any of the active wrestlers. I'm going to wait. I believe, Dave kind of ignores that rule of the retiring because in wrestling, you can retire and then come back immediately. So it's like look at Terry Funk as a prime example.
Waiting for the next Ric Flair retirement event.
Exactly. So it is this thing of like he has structured it differently and it sort of forces you to consider active wrestlers. Yeah. He tries to look at it as like you're considering them basically in their prime or what could be considered as their prime.
Yeah. And I think as far as the others, like I've discussed like my WWE watching has not been, I've not watched too much, especially Modern. So like I've missed most of Becky Lynch's career, but what I've seen is very good. And what I've been convinced by others and told by others, like how good she is and what she's done for women's wrestling overall. And especially in like the big promotions. Yeah. Like it sounds like a lot of women owe her and this wrestling in general owes her. And she's definitely in like, not in the downswing of her career, but she's sort of in the veteran, like she's definitely the veteran, like, just putting in the work sort of a deal. Like she's not here to like, she's not breaking out into the main event scene or anything anymore. Like she'll be a main eventer, but she could also like, she was on NXT recently, like, and she can do that because she's put in the work. Yeah. I honestly thought she should have gotten a lot more.
I believe how'd she do? I believe she was a 28.3%. She grew from 25.2. So practically the same.
Yeah.
The only big swings were Samoa Joe and the Hardy Brothers, obviously Sabu, but Samoa Joe and the Hardy Brothers getting massive swings, both having roughly 23% and both now having roughly percent.
And I think both of them are Hall of Famers in my mind. I mean, I came up in the Attitude Era. I think like Hardy Boys, what they did for the tag division, like they play a huge role in my mind for, inspiring the Young Bucks, inspiring any big high flying team, like the ladder spots and everything.
At least in a modern sense, obviously.
Yeah.
There's like the Rockers and all that stuff. More of a historical thing at this point.
And also, like, I think I've heard discussion on this, and I've talked about it a few times of just like, there's some wrestlers who are just cool.
Joe is that guy too. Also,
no, and like most of the time, like, there are a few wrestlers who I want to say have the crossover. A lot of times you'll talk to someone and you'll say like, you'll talk about like, oh, what do you do over the weekend? I watched a wrestling show. Like wrestling.
Yeah.
And but someone like the Hardy Boys, I think like Darby Allin is a modern example of like, yeah, this is a guy the kids could look at and be like, oh yeah, they're cool.
Yeah.
Like, you know, girls love Jeff Hardy.
Yeah.
But they worked so well together, and I think also the fact that they are still a draw, even at this point where like one of them can't wrestle at all. And the other probably shouldn't be wrestling. Like the fact they're still a draw, like they still have the juice in a sense. And I think that's just a lot of that just what they've earned and what they put in. So I think I'm surprised that they're that low.
Yeah, now with Punk, Rhodes, and Sabu going on, and that's the big thing as well. Punk, Sabu, and Cody obviously all getting over 60%. The next highest is the Briscoes at 48.8. He's the clubhouse leader. You need 60% to get in. There's a little bit of that, like the Hardys and Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe's second, Hardys is 3. There is a little bit of like, as we'll say on the ballot as it comes out, a battle royale energy of like, there are now so many votes up for grabs, and the next highest person's at 48%, not even at 50. The Hardys could jump up. I mean, a lot of votes. I'm sure there's a lot of modern U.S. voters that vote for WWE more centric people. You know, they part of it is because of, you know, WWE. You can look at WWE as a bigger draw because obviously the bigger promotion, and you look at like Hardy Brothers have that. You know, Samoa Joe has that to a degree. Not really. That's his case really at all. But he worked in WWE and NXT. The Briscoes haven't.
I think for me also, like, you know, I'm a goddamn mark who will like, there's nothing else WWE loves more than put themselves over. So of course, you know, if I watch a WWE thing, that's like the Hardys are the most innovative tag team ever.
Yeah.
So that honestly plays a part. Like I'm not a voter, so I can be biased.
Yeah.
And I can admit like, oh yeah, well,
even as a voter, it's important to be biased, right?
Yeah.
It's like you're trying to get the objective information about like data and drawing and stuff, but it's like, it is also, do you like their work, you know?
Right. And it's like professional wrestling more than anything else, as I've been saying, it's storytelling, and it's a lot of like, that's in itself, how you view storytelling is almost completely subjective.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to make this podcast really controversial.
Sure.
For example, I like Star Wars The Last Jedi. Uh-oh.
I love the Star Wars Last Jedi.
Yeah.
that movie rules.
But that's subjective. I understand people who don't like it, and I understand.
I don't understand it.
I get it.
Yeah.
But it's just like with a wrestler, I can get why someone might not click.
Sure.
With someone, just because like they're wrestlers who I never clicked with, and then I find out like, oh, they're like, once I grew older and learned more historically, oh, they were actually really popular. Oh, good.
Yeah. Well, I want to get also this thought, because I really wanted to ask you about this question. So 5 people are coming off, obviously 3 inducted, 2 falling off completely. Doesn't mean FTR, Drew McIntyre can't go back on. I suspect FTR would be a team that would go back on.
Yeah.
Drew McIntyre, I doubt it. Yeah. But Dave has now added, obviously, he every year adds new people. These aren't necessarily people we're going to be discussing on the ballot this season. I believe only 100% is making his full-on debut on the ballot. These other 3 people are returning. But there are 4 people he's adding to Modern US and Canada. And I want to just get your thoughts real quickly about these 4 people. Should I give them one at a time? I think I'm going to give them one at a time. First up, making his debut on the ballot for the first time ever, Gunther, a.k.a. Volter. From the Europe region, but we haven't actually gotten guidance from Dave if it's Modern US and Canada or rest of the world. We assume Modern US and Canada, but I like Gunther a lot. He's a really great worker. I love his wrestling ability. I think he's a good talker on the mic as well at this point. He had a retirement match with Goldberg, which is significant. There's so I think there's like certainly things to his case. He has a lot of great matches, a lot more than people would think. If you look at Cage Match, I think it was like 129 matches in his career rated 8 or higher, which is, you know, out of 10. So pretty big. We're also adding to the ballot next year, making his return, Dave Bautista. Do you have any thoughts? By the way, I didn't ask you about Gunther. Do you have any thoughts about Gunther or Dave Bautista?
Gunther, not really. Like I really like him in the ring, but I don't think I know enough about his international career to really say like specifically like
Sure.
Like, oh yeah, he's good. Like I think I watched his was an Intercontinental title run, and that I thought that was great. Like, you know, he really good matches, told a story, just has his WWE run, he's looked great.
Yeah.
But I don't know enough to say like
that's fair.
Yeah.
What about Dave Bautista?
If I could include his acting,
I don't know. So I have seen people discuss this, and this is where part of it. I have people discuss like him. Generally speaking, I think most people would say Dave Bautista is the better wrestler turn actor at this point in everyone, versus really the other competition is Cena and Dwayne.
Yeah.
Cena obviously doing something very different, and Dwayne kind of doing something different, but obviously Smashing Machine kind of more, because Batista does more dramas at this point, I think, than comedic stuff, other than Guardians, blockbuster stuff. But then, you know, that is also such like a subjective thing. It's like, how do I judge it? It's a wrestling Hall of Fame, but do I judge like, oh, is he built a career? You know, you prove that you can build a career. I don't really think he's the guy that proved that. I think The Rock proved that, and Cena proved that. Not really Dave per se.
Also, I mean, say it for Dwayne, but he acted as The Rock, like, and that's like, as if you're looking at a wrestling Hall of Fame, like, but Dave Bautista he's not like WWE wrestler Batista when he's cast in a movie nowadays. Like
he's got little glasses on, and I think
and Blade Runner, yeah, it's great. But his like, you know, Guardians of the Galaxy, Drax is that. When I think Dave Bautista, I think of him as a person. Like, I don't really see him as a wrestler. I mean, I think John Cena is almost in the middle in terms of just.
He's also just a vague idea of what he is as a person. You know what I mean? It's
yeah, he is.
He's just a weirdo.
He is a weirdo who seems to have almost, in a sense, not much of a sense of shame, or at least not a normal human sense of shame.
He has never had a human sense of shame.
Yeah,
there were stories of him in college where he would go to parties completely naked.
No. And
which is not great.
No, but hey, wrestling.
But wrestling. But also the other thing is like, it's such a subjective thing, and realistically speaking, you and I watched the Smashing Machine, and you and I didn't necessarily walk out fully loving the movie.
No.
And Dwayne's performance, but also like when you're talking like best actor for the Oscars or even just like award season, Dwayne's name is bouncing around a little bit because people have also liked his performance. Yeah. So there's also a chance, like, you know, I'm saying what I'm trying to say here is that there's a subjective thing of we all say Dave is the best wrestler turn actor, but there's also a chance that The Rock is going to get nominated for an Oscar. He's not going to win, but get nominated for an Oscar, and it's like, well, that's an objective. No one else has got nominated for an Oscar. You know what I mean? You know what I'm trying to say here?
Well, how many Instagram followers does Dave Bautista have versus Dwayne?
Oh, certainly less. Certainly less.
And I don't know if anyone knows this, but the Oscars, it is 50% marketing. Yeah. And that's just how it has to be. Like, people have to see a movie to appreciate the film, or
the for-year consideration is a massive marketing campaign because they're actively trying to get, however, I don't know how many people are on the Academy voting body, but like they have to get specifically all of those people to go check out this movie.
You have to pay to like print DVDs to send to some old person. There's probably one Academy voter who still just watches things on VHS because this is the only way to see real movies.
It would be like if I did an episode of The Ballot and then like someone paid to get that episode out to more of the voting body somehow. I don't even know how that would exist, but it'd be like that. Yeah. It's like, okay, here's a great case presented on Ted Boy Marino, for example. And then Ted Boy Marino, who I believe is still alive, or Verb Abrams, who was the guest, paid to have that episode pushed to more of the voters. That's basically what the Oscars are in a weird nutshell. There's two other people. Okay, get these takes. Booker T is making a return to the ballot. I don't necessarily think he'll have takes on all these people, but I want you to know that I don't understand why Booker T's on here on this ballot.
I honestly kind of love Booker T.
Okay,
but part of the reason I love Booker T is also just the TNA memes. So
I'm glad you brought that up.
Respect.
We realized on the ballot episode, I recorded it yesterday. It was coming out Wednesday. We realized that the last time Booker T was on the ballot was in 2006, I believe. He falls off, and the next year, 2007, 2008, he leaves for TNA. So this is now the first time he's going back on the ballot, where we now have to consider his entire TNA run, which includes all the memes, the fighting while announcing.
Which
has
anyone ever done that? Has anyone ever done commentary while participating in a match?
Certainly been on a microphone, but I don't think commentary.
Yes. So
which then also extends, we now have to consider his role as a commentator in WWE as well.
Which that probably hurts his case.
Which 100% hurts his case. I think he sucks. I think he's won so many worst announcer awards that it's like, oh, what are we doing here?
There's a few reasons I don't like. It's honestly mostly just the WWE of it all, but I have not gotten into NXT.
Yes.
And he plays a part.
Yes. He's part of the presentation. He's part of that presentation of the product. I do think that there is an element of fun for me of Booker T being back on the ballot and considering now getting a chance for voters to now consider his TNA run and his announcing job, along with WWE and WCW stuff, even though they considered that before. I think his TNA run and certainly adds longevity, but I think it ultimately hurts his case more, in my opinion.
So I will defend this TNA run. That's fun, but I also wasn't watching it at the time, so maybe I would have been more like, "What the hell's happening?"
Yeah, but he was a main event Mafia player. Am I not mistaken?
You're correct. Yeah, and you're great playing against Scott Steiner. Also, just I'm sure that's another debate.
Oh yeah.
But and I think there's something to be said for Booker T also about like his early WWE run. I mean, I talked about it before, like when I got turned off of, WWE in general, was that Invasion storyline where they buried like people I really liked in WCW. Booker T was one of them. He was a main event star, and deservedly so. Towards the end, he was one of the few people doing good work in WCW.
Yeah.
Actually, earning the check. Like it was basically him in the cruiserweight division.
Yeah.
It certainly wasn't Jeff Jarrett. But and then he comes into WWE and like he has to deal with the racist nonsense from Triple H and getting buried as all non WWE talent got buried by Vince, and he still stayed on top of the card. Like it would have been so easy for him to fall off or just say, screw this, or go
top of the card on the B show, to be fair. But yes, he's the top of the card on SmackDown.
That's another thing. I also quit before the brand split. I was like, it's all WWE. Why? Well, yeah. And so
the thing about that is that like the titles were pretty much 1A and 1B, and they would flip for every couple of years. And then, at a certain point, it just became like, oh, it's 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And I think that was around the King Booker world title reign as well. Along with the next person I'm about to bring up, who is the most lightning rod of a lot of people don't necessarily like Booker T returning on the ballot. This person returning on the ballot, people feel more like, what the fuck are we doing here, Dave? And that is, of course, I believe the mayor of Knoxville, Tennessee himself, Kane. It's got to be Kane. He's returning to the ballot. Immediately made a face. How do you feel about Kane as a Hall of Fame talent?
No.
Just a hard no.
Yeah. You know what Kane was good for? Kane was good for the actual main eventers to beat up.
Yeah, pretty much.
He was literally there to be like, look at this big monster. What Dwayne Johnson took him. The Rock took him out. Okay, the Rock is a main eventer,
which is pretty much his strongest element of his case is that he has, like, to a degree, a sneaky good drawing record in the sense of being on top of pay-per-views a lot, specifically for the reason you just mentioned. But it's like, well, does that make him a Hall of Famer? I don't know. Is he a great worker? I don't know. Speaking of character actors, was he great as Dr. Isaac Yankem? Was he great as Fake Diesel? Whatever the other one, the Christmas something. He played a Christmas creature. I think it was just called the Christmas creature. I think.
Yikes.
Yeah. As a masked Kane, as a
also
Kane.
I mean, actor. See No Evil.
See No Evil. See No Evil 2. I believe.
Was he in 2?
I believe. Was he? He had to have been in 2. He had to have seen more. It should have been See More Evil.
No, it was Randy Orton.
Was it really?
No, it was just it was his character from the Marine 2.
Oh no, Kane was in it. He was in it. Good. I'm glad he was. It should have been See More Evil.
Well, this just goes nowhere. Now you see me.
my now you see me rant of now you see me. Should have been now you see me. Now you don't.
Yeah.
Now you see more. Now you 3 me.
Now you see no evil.
Now you see 4. Now you see evil. Yeah, four new people on the ballot.
Yeah,
Dave Batista, biggest Dave as we say around these parts. Gunther, Kane, and Booker T. Not really a great solid group of additions, but
I can make an argument for Booker T, but I don't think I won't be offended if he doesn't make it. And
I wonder what the highest Booker T ever did on the ballot. I can't imagine it was probably
because he said he was first on the ballot in 06.
That's when he fell off. When
Okay.
he was first on it, let's see if I can find. I'll see if I can find the same thing with Batista and Kane. Oh no, Booker first came on the ballot in 2006. He immediately fell off.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And he immediately fell off, and since then he's added to his case TNA and then the announcing gig. And it's like, does that now warrant a consideration for Booker T? Batista, the highest he's ever done was 17%. He went on in 2011, fell off in 2013.
Yeah, I don't see. I mean,
I'll see what Kane is. I think he went on and fell off immediately.
Good. It's not just politically.
He went on in 2012 and fell off immediately.
Yeah, no, I the only one of those three where it's like, okay, Gunther, I guess, is good, but that runs to the case of like, no, he's still. How old is Gunther?
He is late 30s. I think he's 38.
So he has some time, especially his build. He could be around for a while.
Yeah.
So he's in my wheelhouse of like, oh yeah, he could still build on his case a bit.
Yeah. Batista, the problem with Batista is that he was my childhood nostalgic sort of like, that was one of my guys, and the reason I connected so much partially is because of the being from DC. But going back to Hobbs, it's like there's something about like a big power guy doing power moves. Goldberg is still on this ballot, and it was very similar. I would say Batista is obviously a better worker than Goldberg.
I guess Batista came on relatively late, and like how long was he active?
He was active like I want to say like 01, 02, 03 is when he's like in OVW and pops onto the main roster. And then he is around into the 2010s, maybe 2011, 2012, something like that. Or 2011, whatever year I said, because that's when he gets on the ballot. Because that was also the time when he like retired. He fully didn't wrestle. And then, so that is, let's say a decade is what that was. A decade or so, decade and change. And then he came back, had that Blue Tista run in like 2015, 2014. Feud Evolution reunited, feud with the Shield and all that stuff, and then Blue Tista run and all that stuff. The WrestleMania 30 with Danielson and Randy and Evolution as a whole, Triple H, and then the "Give Me What I Want" meme with his actual retirement match with Triple H, which is probably all in all 3 more years, 3-4 more years.
I can't really judge just because like that is a total blind spot for me.
Of course.
And like I know who he is. Like I've seen the highlights, but I never really watched his work. Like I never seen like him. I never saw like the evolution build. The like I know a little bit about like how it plays into like the Triple H Reign of Terror a bit. You know, but
I like him a lot.
Yeah,
I like him a lot.
yeah. I like him too. I just don't. I don't know if he's a Hall of Famer
Sure.
for wrestling in my mind.
Sure, that's
I
fair.
think he's a super talented guy, and I like him, but yeah, as far as a wrestling Hall of Fame, I don't know.
Yeah, whether or not I vote for him, I have to think about it.
Yeah.
Like I voted for 6 people and 3 of them got in. So I have, and I believe this year actually we have 5 votes instead of 6 votes for 2026. So I actually lose a vote, but I have 2 open slots, and so it's like, who's it going to be? The 2 people that we're considering for this year to vote for were Samoa Joe and Mercedes. So there's a good chance that I'm like, well, my modern's already picked out. It's going to be Samoa Joe, Mercedes, the Briscoes, Moxley, and Becky Lynch. However, I'm also struggling with Becky Lynch, and I might not vote for her and vote for someone else, but that's part of the research.
Well, truthfully, I feel like you can do a Batista. Like this is a total. I'm biased. I'm giving it to him.
I like Batista a lot, man. I don't know what do you want me to say.
I'm not judging.
He has like he is similar to Goldberg. He has like a longer reign on top, but obviously Goldberg has a way higher peak. Yeah. But Goldberg's run is like a year or 2 cumulatively, I think.
Also, you look at what they contributed to the business or what they took away from the business. And,
which Dave's still like, as acting, he's to a degree.
Oh yeah,
I agree with you that he's not necessarily bringing it back to the business altogether, but like he is representing to a degree. He represents wrestling.
Yeah,
I think at this point he's representing more of himself.
But he does legitimatize it as a dramatic art that like there is a transition. Like these are performers in the ring, and they can be performers out of the ring too.
They don't necessarily just have to be comedy stars or blockbuster attractions. No. They can perform in high work with like auteur directors like Villeneuve or others. People exist.
Well, you can say Dwayne Johnson worked with the Safdie.
Yeah. Is are the Safdies auteur directors at this point? Yes.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like they have a style.
Yes, they do have a style.
So,
very distinct style. Yeah. Are you excited for Big Timmy? What was it? Marty Supreme?
Honestly, Smashing Machine. It's probably not fair to it, but Smashing Machine has kind of like
just hurt Marty Supreme in terms of interest.
Yeah. It doesn't help. My favorite bits of the Safdie brothers filmography has been like they are the most anxiety-inducing filmmakers, or at least their earlier films. Like Good Time and Uncut Gems are just biting my fingernails. And I don't know if you've seen The Curse.
No.
Just probably the most anxiety-inducing series I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Just as the kids say, cringe. Nathan Fielder is a genius. And also Emma Stone, just great. Plays a great shitty lib, I guess we could say. Same thing as Begonia.
What is it? A MAGA Democrat is I think people describe it.
Speaking of which, Dean Cain shows up in The Curse. It's a great one thing you'll get the Safdies great on the nose casting, which unfortunately I wish they went a bit more with that with Dwayne Johnson. Just like I feel like there could have been a bit more of a meta aspect of like instead it's just okay, we have this 50-year-old man playing a 20-something.
Yes.
And there's no real commentary on this.
No.
Okay. But Marty Supreme, I'm definitely gonna see it regardless.
Yeah, me too. We'll probably see it together.
Probably.
Thank you everybody for listening to this week's episode of Ring Post Radio. I appreciate you joining us for this one. Andrew, obviously you don't really have anything per se to plug, but do you have any things you want to speak about for the Orioles, or do you have any actual real plugs?
Baseball sucks. But hey, both of us, we worked on the Naked Gun. that should be coming out on streaming or something. I don't know. Wherever you see movies, you should see it. That's a fun comedy.
Let's see. It should be on streaming at this point.
Or
It's been enough
VOD.
months.
Yeah, like go see it. It's just a fun comedy. We both worked on it. It's the one project I'm proud of. Is I'm certainly not proud of the Go Big show.
How dare you
or
say that about Cody Rhodes?
Or Obliterated, a show that everyone remembers on Netflix.
Never even heard of it.
What are you talking about? It's from the creators of Cobra Kai.
The Twisted Mind. It's on Naked Gun's on Paramount Plus now.
Okay. See Naked Gun. That's a fun movie. Ryan and I both worked on it. We're proud of it.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun to work on. It was a good show. It was my last film job. Got 3-4 months of work or something like that. I would love 3-4 months of work in a film job at this point. Well, yeah, go check out Naked Gun. It's a great movie. Or go check out Legacies.
Well,
gotta go check out Legacy.
Yeah.
Thank you everybody for joining us this week episode. Scotty will be back next week reviewing Full Gear. And I'm sure we'll get some Andrew's takes through me about Full Gear as well. So you hear some of that more. Andrew, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
It was a pleasure talking with you. I feel like it's to a certain degree this was a long time coming. And it opened. I think it was a good door open to get you on here.
A forbidden door.
I would say a forbidden door. So it's been a pleasure talking to you. We now have to go get some lunch and then cut down some banana trees. But that all being said, thank you everybody for listening to us. I don't know. Do I have a match of the week? That's typically a segment we do at the very end is plugs and match of the week. I know you probably just watched AEW.
Just watch Blood and Guts.
Just watch Blood and Guts.
That's a great show.
Yeah, that's a great show. Just watch something from there. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Follow us wherever you go to social media if you dare. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Subscribe to the regular podcast feed wherever you get podcasts. Like I said before, the ballot will have our roundtable discussing the results of the Hall of Fame results. Said results too much. With past and future guests Adam Berger and Fred Moreland. So you can check that out and you can hear our full thoughts on the Hall of Fame balloting. And yeah, that's pretty much it from me here. Andrew, thank you again so much for coming on. Everyone will see Scotty next week back on Ring Post Radio, right before our Thanksgiving episode, I guess. So until then, thank you everybody for joining us on Ring Post Radio. And until next time, have a good one. Goodbye, everybody.